And here we are then. RST Competizione. It's gonna be round number 2. Hello and welcome everybody. Zandvoort is on the table, brought to you by RST. On the broadcast booth tonight, Nicholas and Josh once again. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. Kind of after last week's performance from everyone, close racing all the way through for 2 hours, which is quite impressive. And well, it's now Zandvoort, so I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, Zandvoort itself as a track which really just goes screaming onto your tires. I think we're going to be seeing some, well, let's say manageable tire life because the temperatures aren't too hot. I think. Yeah, looking around the 20 degrees Celsius mark, I think the drivers are going to be pushing quite hard to the limit. We saw some very quick times in practice here already. Who are we going to watch out for tonight?
Well, just from qualification, the number 1-3 Bentley has posted an absolute blistering time this time round. So they're about, well, their qualifying time ended up being about 6/10 faster than the P2 car, which was the number 3-3 Ferrari, driven by Jerome Ruling and Madley. So it's absolute blistering pace from that Bentley. But the rest of the pack, they're all bunched up close together in the top 10. So I think if the number 1-3 car can get away nice and cleanly, I think it might be a walk in the park for them. But you know, Zandvoort's quite a technical track, not a lot of places to pass, so they're gonna have to stay in front when they get around turn 1.
Yeah, and I think if they aren't able to do that, it's going to be very difficult to get anything done, despite having maybe a bit of extra pace. But seeing that you said it was the Bentley setting the fastest time, honestly, I would have bet my cards on the Ferrari. Driven it here myself as well. It's such a powerhouse around the track. But 6/10, hot damn, they're on a mission tonight.
Yeah, it's absolutely blistering pace from those guys. While the mid-engine cars, they did absolutely phenomenal at Barcelona. When we're looking at the cars that tend to do well at Zandvoort, it tends to be the front-engine cars. As I said, it's a twisty track. It's very technical, a lot of low-speed corners,
Right.
and you need that weight over the front axle. So the front-engine cars, we've got them in P1, 3, 4, and 5, with the rest of the top 10 being the Ferrari and a Lamborghini chucked in as well.
Oh, Lamborghini up there. All right. So I have the feeling on the Lambo that it's just very unstable throughout some of the sections if you don't get the setup nailed. So it's quite interesting to see them up at the front with the quali pace. But obviously, we just want to see what they're able to achieve during the race here. We've been seeing it in the background here. A couple of nice shots from the top of the track. Would you say it's usually a love-hate relationship with Zandvoort? Are you on the love or the hate side of that spectrum?
Yeah, the organisers certainly have chosen Marmite tracks, as I call them. I mean, Barcelona, that's kind of a love-hate track for a lot of people. Zandvoort, again, is a love-hate track. But yeah, I think if you're in a front-engine car, you're in for a good time. They just bite, and they seem to handle the corners quite well. But those mid-engine cars, and especially the Porsche, it's going to be quite a struggle to try and get their setups dialed in to manage that weight balance.
Yeah, and over the course of the race as well, for example, the Porsche, there's a lot of changes in the rake and the way the car drives. So you're not going to be driving the same car for 2 hours. It's going to be basically shifting in between different pictures or impressions of that vehicle. So the front engine cars do have that ability to just produce reliable lap time and reliable feeling in the car, which is absolutely crucial, especially in the first sector here, which is so difficult to get right.
Yeah, it's quite a crucial thing to nail. But yeah, these guys, a lot of them know how to set up the car. A lot of them are running the Racing Sim Tools package, the program that lets them set up their car appropriately with all the data. And I mean, yeah, this is kind of a showcase of what these guys can do and produce some top-level racing with blistering pace around here.
Yeah, for me, around tracks like these, RST is gonna be the choice, because obviously you want to get a setup that feels right in the corner and it's mobile enough. So you can't just rely on feeling alone. You got to look at some data, and that's going to be your number one choice here tonight.
100%. But I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see from the action on track what happens.
Yeah, and so let's jump right on over there. We've been following the practice session here for a little bit. We did see some nice times from the 33, so let's head right on over there. Changing scenes, and what do we see here? An 88 is in third. That probably number 55, I would reckon so, with RWB Hearts in second. Now rolling with a 34.9. How does that compare to the qualifying pace we saw?
He managed to do a 1:34.4 in qualifying, so he's still got 4 tenths to find. But I mean, with this kind of session, they're going to be practicing with race fuel, the appropriate tires, and the correct brakes, and they'll be using the kind of endurance spec brakes rather than maybe qualifying or sprint race spec brakes that they would be using for qualifying.
Right.
So the braking performance isn't going to be there. It's not going to have as much acceleration as they had in quali, but still blistering time from him. And yeah, we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, we've been checking out Mika Topinka here, number 91. One of the drivers also from the first race. We'll have a look at the standings in a minute. But for those who have been paying a lot of attention to the top right corner of your screen, you'll be able to spot that there is actually 30 minutes away seeing rain shower happening there. So that's probably around when the race is going to be just starting. So chances are we are going to be seeing some very changing weather here in the next couple of minutes. Maybe let's have a look at what happened last race. Talk a little bit about the standings there. We obviously have 3 different classes. You can see it there. We have the pros, we have the white badges, the pro type of drivers getting the top times in. Lots of consistency. Then sitting in the middle, we have a couple, I think 4 drivers that is. In the silver class, for example, the number 21, 114, 69, and 5 you're seeing on the left. And then also the AM class. So going through the grid there, let's talk a little bit about the standings.
Yeah, so last week, the guys who won it outright in both the pro class and the actual overall race was the number 55 car, and that was driven by Phil Varley by himself, I believe. I don't think he had a teammate at that time. So he won it outright, blistering pace from start to finish. He had the best lap of the race. And yeah, of course, he won as well. So phenomenal stuff from him and the number 55 Bentley.
Yep.
In P2, in class and in the race as well, we had Olivier Curtin and Christopher Tavarian. Those guys were in the number 58 Lamborghini. Those guys finished P2 with Badowski and Nayonanen in the number 92 Audi, bringing up 3rd place. So those guys were kind of the podium sitters for the race and in class for the pro category. For silver, we had the number 21 Mercedes win in terms of the silver rating. So those guys had Malho and Telhairo sitting within it. They did an absolute mega job doing that. With Charger and FX in the number 69 Lexus bringing in P2 for the Pro-Am class. And Jonas Red and Kevin Shepard in the number 718 Ferrari, bringing in 3rd for that category. And then, not to discount the AM class guys, we had the number 25 Ferrari driven by Adam Sharp and Ian Simcox. Those guys finished 1st in the AM category. P2 had the number 5 Lexus driven by Matt Tarbuck and Jody Barraclough. And P3 in the AM category was Kai Banks and Alexander Veach in the number 34 Mercedes. That was the green Monster Energy sponsored Mercedes that we saw last week.
Yeah, I do remember seeing a lot of action on track following that AMG around. Always seem to be involved and fight somewhere. It's nice to see them back in action tonight again. Do you reckon there's going to be a big difference in terms of the pace, in terms of the way that these guys are approaching the race, looking back at the first round at Barcelona?
I think with Zandvoort being a bit more technical, I'm hoping that we see some more kind of strategy in terms of pace, not going full-on treading your tires from the start. But I think it'll be a similar story to Barcelona, with people trying to pit only 2 times
Right.
within those pit windows of it being about 30, 40 minutes. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but yeah, it will be interesting to see if the undercuts will be used, as it's quite difficult to pass at Zandvoort most of the time.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Let's walk down the grid. I'll give you the honor. I think you also have the name, so it should be working just fine. Would
Yeah,
you
I hope I
be
don't mess
alright with
up.
it?
Yeah, so in
Oh,
P1,
hold on. Do you have the stream?
yes, I have.
Okay, great.
Yeah, no worries. So in P1, we have the number 13 car that's driven by Jack Camiletto to start. In P2, we have number 33 Ferrari driven by Jerome Röhrling. In P3, we have the number 88 Mercedes that's driven by Jake Moore to start, with the number 145 car driven by Daniel Merchant in P4 alongside him. In P5, we have the number 917 Lexus driven by Emo Plates to begin with Olivier Curtin in the number 58 Lamborghini sitting alongside. In P7, we have a number 96 car driven by RWB Rigel, and alongside him is Michael Topinka to start in the number 91 Ferrari. Sorry, that's the correction with number 114 car. Topinka follows behind in that number 91 Ferrari, with Nate Newcomer lining up alongside in the number 97 Aston Martin. In P11, we have a number 92 that's being started in by Badalski in the Audi.
Yeah, first Audi on the grid there as well.
Yeah, it's really nice to see one up there. And in P12, we have a number 68 car that's driven by Barros to begin with. In P13, we have a number 16 car driven by Daniel Barnett. And alongside, we have Adam Sharp beginning in the number 25 vehicle. In P15, we have the number 21 car that's driven by Tohiro. Those guys are in the Pro-Am category from what I remember. And in P16, we have number 34 car driven by Godzilla in that nice Monster Energy Mercedes.
Yeah, with the AM sticker, you can see it on the side there as well. I think we don't quite have time, so it's going to be Pinpoint, Barraclough, FX UK. There's an open spot there, it seems. Then Al, Speed, Schaefer, Mertens, and Hags wrapping up the grid. Let's go jump around as they are seemingly only now going into formation. Seems like the curtain got a little bit of a head start ahead of themselves.
Yeah, it looks like Jake Moore might be starting from the pits as well. So I have a feeling we might have a race restart.
Yeah,
for the start of it to try and get everyone back in the correct order.
Yeah, so that is going to be the case. Let's get you some more trackside footage to watch as we're getting the details sorted out here behind the scenes. Alright, there we are. Once again, back with the trackside. So thank you everybody for joining us here tonight. 2 hours of Zandvoort is going to be on the table for you. And now I'm a little bit disappointed, I do have to say. Not because of the restart per se, but with the idea of starting in the dries and having to go for a strategy which is either you going on dries into the rain or starting with a gamble on wets and hoping that they survive until the water starts to pour in.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. With the wets, of course, if it does start to dry out, even if it stops raining, there's no point in going in and switching straight back onto slicks because, as you say, the water ends up standing there and you end up with puddles. But if it does get super heavy, expect to see cars starting to aquaplane. As the cars keep driving, their tread blocks get worn down, so you end up becoming more intermediate tyres that you see in Formula One rather than full-on wet tyres. So you end up seeing cars starting to aquaplane as the puddles get bigger and the tyres start to degrade. So hopefully we don't see anything like that. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see because rain is the great equalizer. We kind of see who's got real pace in the wet, and it always models up the grid.
So qualifying already is out of the ways, and obviously that was in the dries, considering there were 34s driven. Now, let's see on the restart, once the server is back up, we're still currently waiting for that to happen. How the weather is going to sort itself out that time around. Now, we do also have a couple of other events happening in the RWB community here around. Personally, I'm also involved in the Tuesday's ACC Constructors Championship. Have you been following that much at all?
I've been driving in it in the GT4 cars. I've also team principal of Audi as well, so trying to
Yeah.
whip people into shape. But yeah, it's been absolutely phenomenal doing it. Really close racing, great fun, and yeah, like it's been amazing commentary as standard. Yeah.
Glad you did enjoy it. I think the Audi in itself and the GT4 seems quite daunting to tame. Do you find that it's easier than I would imagine, or is that really a big challenge or each time you're getting out on track?
I think with the GT4s, they all kind of feel fairly similar in a way. You don't have to worry about aero balance because the cars just they're not dedicated to aerodynamics, which
Right.
means that you don't lose a ton of front downforce when you go through corners following someone. So I think the racing is a lot closer in the GT4 pack. Um, but yeah, the GT3s. I mean, everyone wants to watch the fastest vehicles go round, and those guys are properly hammering each other.
Yeah, we did see that in Kialami last time. In case you missed it, go check it out on the YouTube channel. It was a very well, let's say interesting race, that's for sure. It was a lot of action, especially in the second race. We saw some major contact in the first couple of turns. It was if you haven't watched it yet, go and do that. It's very exciting footage we saw there. So talking a little bit about Audi in the overall series, you do have right now. I think that's the second to last position at 1,364 points ahead of Aston Martin. Do you think that's rectified with the way that team's been doing recently, or is that something you think is just temporarily you're looking to change that right away?
It's very much temporary. We've had what was on the first race we had three of the GT3 drivers missing,
Ooh,
like due to personal life and all that. So I told them to kind of sort out their
right.
personal life, deal with what they have to do.
I see. Yeah,
Um, but
that's a big dent then. Yeah.
yeah, so we had pretty much nearly half the drivers missing on the first race. So they're all coming back. I believe we've got every Audi driver back on Tuesday. So expect much bigger things. We've got a lot of kind of really great drivers in a GT3 car and in a GT4 pack as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, like we saw Jeff on Tuesday last Tuesday at Kialami. He did an absolutely amazing job bringing home tons of points, and
Yeah,
everyone else seemed to keep it clean apart from myself. But
yeah, for sure. I mean, if
yeah,
we're looking at the GT3 standings from the different series, sorry if we're kind of overwhelming you with that. I'm just very invested in it. It's quite fun, actually. And I hope you join us there next Tuesday at 2. So, looking at the GT3 standings from there, Jeff is actually the first GT3 overall which hasn't gotten the bonus round in terms of individual points.
yeah,
It's quite.
yeah. It's going well. Yeah, we've got. I think James Lacey's currently in P1 in it. In Porsche and BMW have
Yeah.
quite a lot of drivers up there in terms of GT3. I think there's three of them in the top six, top seven.
Mm.
Um, but I mean, Jeff's keeping in there. He's doing a great job fighting them. Um, Jack Donaldson, who raced last week as well, did a phenomenal job bringing it back up. So yeah, here's hoping that when we get Crawford back in and De Vries as well, those guys will start bringing it to them in time for our double points at
Yeah.
Imola in 2 weeks.
So, talking Imola and Crawford Brown still sitting at 0 points at the moment. I think that is down to just missing out, right?
Yeah,
Missing out
that's
the
correct.
races. Yeah, so it's obviously about to change next time we are going into that. And in the background, you might have already heard that we have had the restart and we are now on the track once again here, looking to jump on in that. Currently in free practice. So it won't be long until we are getting started here with summer race action. Everybody confirming that the cars have loaded in this time. And I do have to say, getting an entry list, even just for 25 drivers, take maybe 30, 40, even with some of the bigger events. I think that's one of the most daunting challenges you can put on your own shoulders.
Yeah, RWB do a phenomenal job trying to get everyone back in into the correct order, because there's no point in starting the race if everyone's in the wrong order. It's just kind of unfair on the people who put time in to do a really good quali job. But we'll see how it goes. Hopefully everything goes along smoothly this time, and we can get some close driving in.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to go run through the grid again, but let's talk a little bit about Zandvoort. Maybe do a quick run through the track as well. Maybe I'm going to get screwed over by the session changing, but perhaps I'm going to be lucky, yeah? So give me just one moment here, and with a little bit of luck, I'll be able to walk you through a lap of Zandvoort here in a second. Jumping right on over there. Here we go. Do you want to go for it, or should I? I actually don't have the corner names up right now.
Yeah, no worries. I've got the corner names, but you have to forgive my poor Dutch. So this is the start-finish straight heading towards turn 1 called Tarzanbocht. It's quite a late braking zone. It's slightly cambered. If you touch the inside curbing there, it tends to throw you off. We go towards the slight left kink, which is dubbed 2A, into this right-hander, which is called Gererbocht. It's turn 2 into number 3, which is Hugenholzbocht, which is a nice left-hander 180. A lot of cars kind of get thrown onto the wrong side of the track. It'll be interesting with cars going too wide. Now we go over to like a kind of flat-out sweeping right, which goes into turn 4 of Hunserbrug, which is a nice sweeping left, and then into another sweeping right of turn 5 called Rob Slaughtermacherbocht. I'm absolutely butchering this.
It's a long one.
Yeah, and
like
then
it,
into a long right-hander, plenty of sand and gravel on the outside. I believe this is a bit more banked in the real life now, but that's turn 6, Scheivlach. Heading on straight down now into another weird kind of braking zone. You tend to brake on that left bit of grass there.
Yeah.
Into turn 7 of Marlborough. That's them now turning into turn right. Heading up towards turn 8, which is another right-hander, kind of doing a quick burst of acceleration into another heavy braking zone, into Renaultbocht. Quick right-hander, and then quickly swapping back over to the right-hand side of the track, so you can kind of widen the entry into turn 9, which is Vodafone Bocht. Long 180 left, tons of 180s in this track actually, counting about 4 or 5 of them. Long straight now, quick burst of acceleration all the way down, trying to defend your inside as we head into turn 10, which is the Audi S-Bocht. It's a very tight 90-degree right-hander. Expect a lot of collisions here if they're going too wide into that, and then it's a 180 left of turn 11 into Hunserud. Another quick burst of acceleration now as they get back onto the left-hand side of the track as they approach turn 12 of Kumherbucht. Quick blast into the right-hander as they go around now into turn 12, lining up for turn 13, which is a long right-hander. Some cars can do it flat, some can't. But that's them now with the pit entrance on the right-hand side as they get onto the main start-finish straight.
Wonderful. That was absolutely lovely. I don't think I even noticed anything with the names. That was just mighty fine. Did enjoy that.
Awesome. But yeah, that's them now lining up, getting ready to get their fuel in, check the tyre pressures, make sure everything's in correctly, and also making sure that all the drivers are in the correct order, which it looks like they are now in the correct order.
Yeah. So no more jumping about. Do we have to go through the grid again? So we do have the Bentley way up ahead now. With the number 13, actually, yeah? Right. Yeah, number 13, 33, 88, 55. Let's just do a quick run. We don't really have to narrate all the way through, especially considering how little time we only have left in the session.
Yeah, certainly.
Very close up there. Close and personal with the drivers. So yeah, Bentley Ferrari in the first row. Then changing it up is AMG next to Bentley once again. Played in the first Lexus up class. Curtin, as mentioned in the 58 here. Rigel with a 2-row Ferrari next to Gretcher. Then it's Topinka and newcomer first Aston in class. Then Badowski in the Audi, representing next to Barros. That's going to be row number 5 for you. Barnett next to Schaefer. Then it's Merchant and Godzilla. Third AMG in class, and one of the first AMs next to Pinpoint is going to be Barrow Clone. And then on FX UK, joining with Shepard here. L next to Telhiro, Speed, and Sharp second. Oh, Jesus Christ. Not again. I can't do this.
Oh man.
There's only so much in between commentary you can do. Once again, it seems like there's a mistake with the order. So thank you for being patient with us, as we also try to be patient with everybody figuring out in which order they have to join, or the entry list being fixed and such.
Yeah, just these things do happen every now and then. It's not a common occurrence, but yeah, sometimes it happens.
So let's maybe go and have a little look here. I'll try and bring this up, F11. I hope that doesn't mess anything up. And I'm going to be going over here. That's just my ACC. Can we get a regular, just a regular screen? This is a little bit scuffed, I'm going to tell you. I'm just trying to get creative here with...
For those guys watching, I do have the YouTube chat up. So hello, Weaver, Kos, and Red Sky, and Rigel. So yeah, Rigel's telling us what they are having fixed right now. But yeah, we'll yeah, for everyone else who's watching, hello, how you doing? What are your opinions on Zandvoort? Are you actually keen on Zandvoort, or are you actually just like me and think it's the worst track on the planet? Let us know in the chat.
It is a fair assumption to make that. I quickly brought up here on stream for you lads to have a look. This is actually the qualifying, and I especially like comparing these sector best times. So you see that with a 34.4, there was actually more potential to be found, where these three are actually super tight. You see that the 34.6 was enough for the Bentley of Phil Varley and Hags. But there was more potential. 210s to be found there still. And I really do like how much time they've put in. You see valid laps 66, 89, and 180 driven laps. Look at that.
Jeez. Yeah, I'm also looking at Topinko and Peter Peck. Those guys put in a tremendous amount as well, putting in triple figures. Looks like 156 if I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, 58, yeah.
158, yeah. So absolutely amazing. But yeah, Tom Weaver saying that his car is Weaver tuned, so we'll see if it if it works or breaks. But hopefully it works.
That's a question. Am I gonna request a setup from him? I wanna find out tonight what kind of setup they're gonna be working with. So up here, Daniel Barnett, one of the drivers doing the 2 hours by themselves. Do you reckon that's a good idea? You can just rely on your own pace, or is that something you would probably not want to if you have the choice?
It's really tough to do. I know some people do 2 hours by themselves, either in the simulator or in real life, but it is absolutely brutal to do. It's so much concentration. But yeah, there are people who do 2 hour stints in regular endurance events, and if it works for them, it works for them. But yeah, they're going to be mentally exhausted by the end of it.
Yeah, I was actually driving earlier today as well. This time 4 drivers for 12 hours. We have already done 12 hours with just 2 drivers. So that was much more relaxed. You could just focus on it more instead of having to bang out lap after lap. So that's probably just that little bit of focus getting lost halfway into the second stint, that's for sure.
Yeah, we've got Phil Varley saying that he did the 2 hours on his own last week and he won the fucker. So we'll see if he can win it this time round, Mr. Cocky. But yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Lovely. Jumping on over, get some. That's the wrong one. There we go. Back to the track side. Mind you, I'll actually put up the heli shots once again in that nice transition once we get there. That's the final corner here. Turn 14, you said? It's the final turn.
I'm trying to get my bearing with the map again.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of turn 6 and turn 13. Turn 6
right.
is that quite big banked corner, but you can see turn 12 and 13 at the bottom of our screen just if the car's going round. That one, it's a really tricky corner, the final one, because some cars can do it flat, others just cannot do it. But I think the Porsche is one that can handle it because it's got that adjustable front splitter. But yeah, it's a good one. But now you can also see turn 6, which is the other corner I love on the right hand side there, with that massive sand gravel runoff area.
Yeah,
Absolutely brilliant.
I think that one is one of the few where I'd say it's acceptable to have that gravel on the outside. It's just in
Oh,
the second sector, super easy to put the car on the wall despite just making one little mistake. It doesn't really seem like a runoff a lot of the time when that's just gravel. It just seems like an extension, just letting you run into the wall a little more slowly instead of avoiding the contact.
Yeah, the that corner turn 6. The problem with it is it's also a bit of a blind corner. So if there's an incident on the inside, due to the camber of it, the cars tend to roll back to the inside onto the racing line. Especially if they're heavily damaged and missing the wheels. So it is a properly dangerous corner if there is an incident there, but it's so much fun to do.
Yeah, it's a very nice resemblance to the sweeping turns that you kind of would expect from such a hilly track. So it's very fun actually to get it right, but especially when teaching someone how to drive the track, it can be a pain in the ass to kind of get them to trust the car into there, especially if they've lost it on some previous occasions.
Yeah, 100%. It is a tricky track to learn. There's some weird lines and braking points in there, but yeah, it's an alright track. It's interesting, but still not my absolute favorite track.
Yeah. All right, we are getting ready for the third time. I've heard that is the charm. So let's see if that pays its dividends. If we have another restart, I reckon we just grab a driver from out there and force them to do an interview. Just get you some more footage to go by. So what's the chat like? Do we get any feedback regarding Zandvoort?
Yeah, we've had Cos say he loves Zandvoort, drove a 2020 version in R Factor 2, brilliant in Formula Car, and he loves the comms so far. But yeah, I remember the R Factor 2 race that RWB held at Zandvoort, and that was
Right.
brilliant fun. I think that was about 3 or 4 months ago. Brilliant fun. Absolutely love R Factor. But yeah, the Zandvoort and that, it's got the proper banking as it is in real life currently, and it's just so great. The car just grips and gets loaded up and just swings round.
Yeah, you're already getting into it a little bit. Now, I don't actually own R Factor 2. So you go ahead and sell the game to me. Give me the elevator pitch.
Oh, it's I think it's probably the best feeling game from a steering wheel point of view. The
Right.
entire field it's the best force feedback I think of any game I've ever played. Um, but yeah, I mean I think the best thing about it is the capacity to have these big endurance events on it, with the GTE's and the LMP cars. So,
Right.
for instance, there's the Le Mans race coming up on the 29th of May that
Ooh.
RWB are hosting. So that'll have LMP2 and GTE cars at Le Mans. So
Are
that'll be
you
absolutely fantastic to see.
are you signed up for that? How long's the race?
It's 6 hours, so it's not too bad. So it's doable with 2 drivers, so it should be good fun. I love the LMP2. It's just I love having a proper aero car, so I can't complain at all about it.
That is the most arrow you're probably gonna get of any of the GT somewhat spec cars, or at least. And is it technically an open wheeler? I don't think it is, right?
Not really. Yeah, I wouldn't class it as being an open wheeler, but yeah, still love it a bit. and yeah, they just grip through everything.
And grip they shall. In the background, we have had the pleasure of watching this timer count right on down for hopefully the final time tonight, where we see up in P1, first row on the grid. It is going to be Carmoletto in the Bentley, then roiling on position number 2. Beautiful quality pace there as well. Moore and Hacks, that's your row number 2. Plate next to Curtin in the third row of the grid. Then Riegel and Gretschel, the Ferrari duo, joining here. To Pinker, third in line. Newcomer is up on then. Badowski and Barros are in the fifth row of the grid. Barnett and Sharp is where it's at for turn 1, I think, because Terpero and Godzilla are going to be pushing that front-heavy AMG right on into a gap if there is any. Pinpoint and Barrel Claw push next to Lexus, and Lexus is again FX UK and Shepard right on there. L and Mertens. There is, I think, another disconnect, but that isn't going to influence us much. Merchant, Schaefer, and Speed. This time it looks just like things are going to work out fine here. There you see them going, well, a little more than too wide. Let's actually turn off the name tags as the Lamborghini, I think, is falling back a little bit. Getting all this fixed as we are ready and waiting for the green light. Once it go, it's get that. Do you want to take it or shall I?
If you go ahead and take it.
Sure,
I'm just
I'll
sorting some technical stuff on my end. But yeah, it's looking good so far. Nothing too bad. So come on,
right.
Start.
And there we are. And you did say so. And absolutely right. And what a jump start almost there from the AMG. That I think is going to be Jake Moore right on to the inside. Let's jump into the helicam, not to miss anything. And there's almost a little bit of contact. Bentley fighting hard for that position they earned, rightfully so, in the qualification. Get that overlay for you to see as well. Broadcasting on the side. Right there, there's actually the AMG on the side of the track there. I think that's going to be Jake Moore dropping way back around the pack. And there's a bit of contact in the background that we seem to miss as they're going too wide up into there. And you see there's a little bit of a pack forming there, a little bit of a gap as well. And you see that front hood, that's bumped. That's absolutely ruined for Jake Moore. Not the start they were hoping for. Let's go back a little bit in a moment here, get a new perspective on that start here. Nate Newcomer from Community Racing, I think, was doing just fine before this. But right now sitting in P10, so we're seeing a nice move around the outside there. That's going to be Barnett, and there's more contact. Audi and I think that's Ferrari. That should be Badowski colliding there. Ooh, track is tight and people are tired, it seems like, considering how many incidents we've already had in the first lap of the race here.
Yeah, it's not at all we were hoping for, but it just goes to show how technical the track this place is. But yeah, it's not the kind of start we wanted, but it looks like it's a start we're going to get.
Yeah, for some of the drivers that's going to be quite frustrating, especially more in the 88 here, dropping back quite significantly after that lap 1 incident here. This is the big old train, the Golden Oldies, number 25, Adam Sharp. That's who we're following with. First car not quite heading to the pit lane. Aston Martin, I think, is Nathan Newcomer. Thinking about it, though, for a brief moment as they continue to pass that AMG, sitting right there like a sitting duck, you could say, really. Forced to wait until the pit window is going to open in a couple. So you see up on there, trying to squeeze past in this too wide scenario without causing any further trouble. And in the background here, we had RWB Hacks in that in that Bentley of his, also coming up very close to roiling. Very nice pace here, right at the front. We're going to see the first valid laps coming in just a hot minute. Going down the hill here once again. This is really where I feel the Ferrari and Porsche are going to have a slight advantage. And now this is where the front engine cars do shine. To the inside there, Topinka thinks about it. Not this time around, though. He's putting a bit of pressure on Barros here. So see Barros in the Aston as we see once again a nice little snake forming around their cars, trying to get to the beautiful racing line, find the rubber out of track to let them grip up.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for those guys, especially as right now they're stuck in a train and it's so difficult to pass at Zandvoort. It's very technical. It's very easy to defend at Zandvoort. It's a very narrow track. But up at the front, Camaletto's got a massive gap right now. He's quite comfortable to just go off and lap in a clean air, and we know his pace from qualifying is quite good, as we saw in the practice session as well. So Ruling and Hacks, they might need to kind of work together to try and push on, try and catch up to Camaletto, but so far it looks like he's got clean air and he's just going to keep doing what he does best and just lap.
Yeah, last lap 36.1. That's 2/10 quicker than Jerome Roiling in P2. So really, I'm interested to see if there's any change in pace when we're starting to see some driver swaps coming in there. It just seems that it's paying dividends to what we saw during the qualification. Just saying, here, this is my pace. Take a good look at it, because it's gonna be the last time you're seeing me. I'll be riding off into the sunset here in Zandvoort tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice and easy for him. We do have a car that's in the pits. It looks like it's El Jairo for number 21 Mercedes. Unfortunately, that's gone into the pits, so hopefully we're just repairing damage.
With 3 wide there, I can't miss that action happening. Hold on, that might already be too fast. Yeah, Michael Topinka now briefly 10th as to round the outside. He'll have to hold on to that for just a moment. Oh, that actually got very close there as Barros tries to defend round the outside, and now 2 wide up into here. Is anybody going to jump the curb? No, just a little body check, just a light tap there, letting you know he's there, and I think that's going to be enough for Michael Topinka getting past this time around. So Moore losing another position, 11th now. That's really just a shame.
Yeah, he just needs to kind of reset his head and get back into the flow of things. Up to the front, still we've got Ruling and Hack still in the same order, following round. They're not really passing each other now. It seems like they're just going to try and catch up to Camaletto.
Let me bring that up in the picture-in-picture if we do want to see that. Oh, actually, now we have the same. There we go. There we are. 2 wide for the majority of the pack here. RWB FX UK in that Targetronic Racing Lexus is very much in the deep end of trouble here, as we see Pinpoint almost jump the curb there. Very tight.
Yeah, that's really tight. Dodger, who's FX's teammate, he might be shitting himself a little bit. As they're going 2 wide all the way through turn 4 and 5. Hopefully they get it sorted before they go into turn 6.
Oh. Yeah, and how tight was that? Having to leave room, and the inside is so powerful. I think we're going to see Mertens also try and get a hand on into that gap. Not quite enough that time, as they're sorting back out into that very ideal racing line around here. You do have to follow that. And the bottom right, once again, the battle for P2 is what we're watching right on there. It's going to be Hats, or rather RWB Hats and Jerome Rolling, who's rear wing we have in picture right there.
Yeah, I'm just being told by Phil Barley that Jake Moore has some hefty damage from turn 3, so hopefully he can get it, like, keep nursing the car all the way through, but yeah, that might be why we're seeing him drop down slightly.
Yeah, we've been...
it's tough for him.
It's no surprise that really just getting the car around the track the first couple of times in this 2-hour race, I tell you, is really the main priority if you want to get a good solid run around here. There we again see RWB Pinpoint is going to be taking the inside, and joining him is Godzilla, very tight on the brakes there. Is he going to go for it? No, he's going to just safely keep it around this time. He might change his mind though once he sees how little acceleration is coming from that very busted. Oh, and there's a big jump on the curb. We almost missed it. Jake Moore is again forced out wide, losing even more positions, and he'll have to rejoin with some very dirty tires and some very frustrated drivers behind the wheel of that number 88.
It's very good he didn't rejoin back on the track though where he went off, because that is bang on the racing line, and that would just cause so many more incidents. But absolutely brilliant to keep it going.
Really, what I think caused this incident was RWB Godzilla somewhat missed the amount of room that was available to him, jumping the curb and essentially shoving him out completely outside of the track there. So that was just caught in the moment. Really, that's I think what happened. Definitely have to look back in a few, get another run off that start of the race, understand a little bit more of how all these things came to be. And once again, you see in the bottom right there, these two are continuing to battle it out. Let me actually bring the center screen for you.
Yeah, these guys are properly battling out. They've kind of been holding the same delta all the way around, but yeah, they're still going at it. Just trying to nurse the car, like the cars around a little bit, try and catch up to Camaletto a bit, but they're coming up to the back marker of Telhairo, so they'll have to get past him before they can keep on the battle with trying to pass Jack Camaletto.
Yeah, one of the first runs around just 9 minutes in and already starting to get some traffic as the track now improves its condition to optimum. We're going to see some even quicker lap times so far at the front. The best we've been seeing is a 35.5 from the front runner. That's Camaletto, then a 36.0 and a 35.9 being the relatively personal bests of Jerome rolling in the fake taxi, 33, and RWB Hanks in their Grumpy Bastards number 555.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes for those guys, but yeah, it's getting tough for these guys up at the front trying to catch up to Jack in that number 1-3 car, because the gap's building further and further and his lap times are improving. They're getting better and better. I mean, he's set the fastest lap by 0.5 of a second.
Yeah, that's quite...
So he's doing a mega job keeping that car on track.
Honestly, it's just such a power statement. There's nothing else you can say about that. Checking in quickly here, Marco Bedowski is in the slipstream, and let's talk about slipstream here a little bit. We saw that these two have been continuing to fight for the longest part. Now, obviously, we already said it's difficult to overtake, but is it even more difficult to follow a car around the track, or is this sort of slipstream something that you're going to be looking forward to?
I think if you can get the slipstream and the perfect run out of turn 13, the final walk corner, you can make quite a nice lunge into turn 1 or drive around the outside if you have the balls for it. But the problem with following a car is the longer you're stuck behind them, the longer that car knows how to position it. We saw last time that amazing defending. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was Bell or something. But it's absolutely phenomenal defending, and the longer that the car is behind you, the longer, like the more time you have to try and learn where they're going to make an overtake, where you can defend, where you can position the car. And I mean, yeah, either the pressure gets to the car in front and they make a mistake, or the car behind gets impatient and makes a mistake themselves.
Talking about pressure a little bit here, RWB FX UK in the Targetronic Racing Lexus is actually hammering away at the pace here. One of the fastest second sectors so far we've been seeing around the track here, and that is actually enough to once again close the gap here. 0.3 of the second just separating from Pinpoint here, and he thinks about it just for a brief moment, but then loses the train of thought as he's forced to go back up in the racing line and shuffle in behind the Porsche 543 he's chasing.
Yeah, it's a tough one for those guys, but, you know, they're doing a great shift so far, especially on a track like this, but, yeah, it's, you know, it's a nice livery. They're doing the good old Golf livery. It's iconic, classic, everyone knows it. But, yeah, these guys up at the front as well, between Pinpoint and FX, they know each other, they've raced each other a ton. They kind of know what each person's going to do, so kind of see how it plays out. Hopefully not in an incident or anything.
Yeah, hopefully not. I think they're both going to be looking into the second stint here as well, as considering how they're quite equally paced at the moment. Not much they can do. In terms of the pace though, Daniel Merchant here is leading this pack of 3 here, the 5 for P14. You see the camera is barely able to hold on to how quick these guys are going into the second sector here. Very technical stuff on the brakes there, and how little room between Simon Martin and Martin Schaefer there. They're kind of fighting for the Martin Merton name here. I think that's really the narrative of the fight here.
Yeah, trying to figure out who's going to win it.
It's like the Josh fight, isn't it?
Yeah, luckily there's not too many people called Josh, but yeah, those guys are probably batting it out, trying to keep it ahead, trying to stick it. But yeah, interesting that that Merchant defends the inside into that corner. It's I don't think Mertens was quite close enough for a lunge into there. But yeah, he's doing the right thing, letting him know that, letting Mertens know that he will defend. He does have the pace and the skill to put the car where he thinks Mertens is going to put it. So yeah, Merchant doing all right.
Yeah,
thing, and now he's got that slipstream.
Chase there to the outside, and we see a ride on there. This is exactly the sort of run, the sort of slipstream that he was hoping for. Simon Mertens braking very late, is now round the outside, but can he make it stick? Not quite enough grip, and now he's once again on the outside here. Both of them leaving just enough room, and now with the run, that is going to be one of the biggest moves we're seeing tonight. Still side by side, Simon Mertens is now on the power and is now in position number 14, snagging that away from the Aston Martin 145 and putting himself in P2 in class.
Yeah, it was a properly beautiful battle for those guys. I mean, they just... you could see the respect between them. They didn't barge each other. There was no rubbing or anything. They just gave the space. But yeah, it's not over for Merchant. He's still got Schaefer behind him. And of course, Schaefer's not really battling these guys because these guys are AM class. While Schaefer wants to get up ahead and try and fight the guys in the pro class up there in P12. So he's gonna want to try and get the move done quickly. But yeah, it's gonna be quite a tough one with Merchant doing some properly good defending.
So what we are seeing here is it's a very nice fight for the first time in the first sector. So actually, Merchant runs a little bit on the inside curving there. Don't really want to do that. So the first sector is a prime opportunity to set yourself up for somewhat of a longer move. Just putting the opposition where you want it, so that eventually you can strike when the opportunity arises. Now there's a couple of other opportunities to get something done. For example, after turn 9 and 10, seeing who can get the braking down beautifully, and that's something that Adam Sharp is probably looking to display in the fight for P9 here. Number 25 and number 91 here, center picture. That's going to be Topinka, Michael Topinka, that is. Ferrari versus Ferrari, so it's really just down to the setup and the driver skill. Very nice line there for Sharp, able to carry a bit more speed, and just now braking very shy of the curving now, using all of the track on the entry, and now into the braking zone. He gets a beautiful line, you see it there, and this is going to be just enough. Let's see if he goes actually around the outside, now looking to get a better run out of here. Is he able to do so? Not quite the traction. I think he actually lost like 2-3 tenths there. Bit odd to see him after such a nice catch-up game that we saw from the Golden Oldies 25 right there.
Yeah, I think he needs to take a page out of Mertens' book. He needs to get a beautiful run out of the next two corners that they're coming up to now, and try and get a run along the straight, stick in the slipstream, get a move done at turn 1, 2 and 3, because they're prime opportunities as we saw earlier. So it's kind of perfect sector 1 for getting a move done. But yeah, it's one of the cliques and niches of Zandvoort, so we'll see how it goes for those guys.
Alright, as we're continuing to chase on here, I'll actually keep it just in this cam for the moment, and because we actually just did a track run, but obviously not seeing in the first person section here how that is, all that elevation change now up the hill and down again. It's a little bit of a roller coaster. So actually, let me get you back on up. Who are we watching in the bottom right corner of our screens here?
We're currently watching the fight between Daniel Merchant and Schaefer, the battle we were watching earlier, but yeah, they're still battling it out, going through turn 4 and 5 on screen now. The little roller coaster section you were just mentioning now, but yeah, it's getting properly close between those two. I kind of foresee an incident incoming, but hopefully I'm proved wrong.
Yeah, that would be the reverse commentator's curse, really, if you can avoid it. And look how close they actually get. One touch on the grass there, and it's going to be absolutely game over. So these guys are trying to find all the pace they can in an effort to make something happen here. You see in the center screen here, it's going to be the McLaren overtaking. I think that might be if I'm not mistaken, or is that someone else? Maybe Tolero? We'll have to chase with that in a moment.
Yeah, it looks like it was Tohiro getting lapped, but yeah, I think Tohiro's car, they sustained quite a lot of damage in the first lap. So hopefully they get back into the running and are able to have some fights later on. But yeah, it does suck when you've had an incident. Maybe it wasn't your fault, but yeah, we'll see how it goes. But it looks like Schaefer's having a go at Merchant, sticks to the outside as we saw from Mertens earlier, and he's going to try and do the exact same move from him. Sticking it around the outside of turn 1, going into turn 2, and yeah, doesn't quite hold the outside. It looks like Merchant's learned his lesson from that battle with Mertens earlier.
Too wide in the background there. Both of them surviving, I hope? Yeah, it looks like it. It's the easiest way to get yourself out of the race. I think that's RWB Godzilla, considering the green livery. Yeah, that
is Godzilla. But yeah, it's interesting for Merchant. He's currently a cork in the bottle for these guys. His pace is good, but I think from what we're seeing, maybe Schaefer, Madal, Godzilla, the fact that they're all bunched together, it kind of indicates that you know,
it's a little difference in the pace. I would reckon so as well. So here, just a brief look there in the bottom right. You saw that RWB Hacks now putting on continuous pressure. Now only 2 tenths separating those two, fighting for position 2. So it's down to the wire here. 20 minutes into this race, with 2 hours to go. I think the BMW is sorry, not the BMW, the Bentley. That's the car with the B ahead I was looking for. It's probably gonna be going on my list of cars to drive around here. It's surprising.
Yeah, the Bentley's great. The only downside to it, I think, is the fact that it's on the correct side of the car in terms of seating position.
Not much you can do about that, I fear. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit off-putting switching around, but we're seeing now Schaefer trying to stick around the outside again, but Merchant just gets the better traction on the inside there. And it doesn't look like Schaefer can make it stick.
It's actually what we saw in the picture-in-picture as well. RWB Godzilla. Just look at the inside line. Has such a massive difference in the grip, so it's really something that is the key factor. Do you have a line where you can just go side by side, for example, after turn 4, or as it seems in turn 1, you're just going to travel such an enormous amount of extra distance that no matter the run, going around the outside, you'd have to be very opportunistic and also force a mistake out of your opponent too.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Mertens has maybe shown Merchant that he can actually go a little bit faster through turn 1, which is why maybe Mertens got through, and now Merchant's realised, oh, I can go a bit faster, and why Schaefer's now struggling to make the exact same move, get done. But yeah, it looks like they're going to have to try and... Schaefer just needs to sort his run out of turn 13, because he's tried the exact same thing, and the Lexus has a lot of power compared to the Aston. He just needs to get it sorted so he can get a perfect run all the way down.
Yeah, I would be... So in the background, obviously, you lads know that we're working with some kind of software, get the cameras right and all that jazz. And something I'd love to actually see is, as I'm quickly bringing this over, is getting some photo speed trap, see where the difference in pace is. I don't think that was a move, right? Did I miss something?
No move's been done.
All right.
No, it's all good.
Trying to use that moment as we see a very big Constantina effect in exhibit number A right there. Turn 4, where all these cars almost end up going front to back, causing a little bit of a collision there. While at low speed, that still has the good chance of spinning you around. We're following RWB Godzilla into the second sector here. A little bit of a separation now actually happening between the two runner-ups in this little pack.
Yeah, it's getting a bit interesting for those guys. I mean, Merchant is really the cork in the bottle, and the guys who aren't where Schaefer is, like Kai Banks, Barrett Clow, and all them, I wonder if they're kind of thinking, come on, Schaefer, get a move done, or we're going to be forced to make a move on you so we can try and get past Merchant.
Yeah.
Because currently their battling is just going to slow them down even further. Because they're not taking the optimum line, they're just defending.
It's quite smart thinking, actually. It's something you see in real life driving as well, and oftentimes in endurance events, you kind of have a time window, 5-6 laps perhaps, where they're gonna be patient with you to try and get a move done. But then eventually they're just gonna be seeing that, okay, this isn't gonna be happening. But is it gonna be happening this time around the outside? Ooh, this looked actually very promising. Now, can he make it stick? Martin Schaefer, it has the opportunity, as long as he can make the run the outside, far distance, number 12, and that's going to be the curb touch, and I think this might be the right inside line that they need. Look at all the extra difference distance traveled, and up the hill they go side by side now. Martin Schaefer is not in the position where he needs to be as he slots right back on, and they've been chasing for the past 20 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, Merchant's wizened up to that move. He's he knows what to do, but we're seeing Schaefer stick the back out there and actually lose the back end.
Yeah, it's
giving Mardell the opportunity to maybe try and get past and have another go.
Oh, that was really close. You saw them almost colliding there, front of the McLaren very much being on the edge there, maybe touching a little bit of the bodywork on the Soul Race team number 12 Lexus. We've been following here, so no changes yet. Despite the mistakes, it seems very difficult to get a run around here. And obviously, RWB Godzilla is in the middle now as well. That Borrow Claw is following up on this. These been fighting 38.8 last time around. That gives a great opportunity for more cars to come and be part of this train, really.
Yeah, it's yeah. I think the problem is everyone behind Schaefer is getting impatient and is wanting to make that move, which is why I think we saw how aggressive Mad Al was to try and get the move done so he can have a go at Schaefer. So he's going to be quite annoyed that he didn't manage to get past Schaefer after Schaefer's mistake, because those two, they're currently fighting an AM and can't get past. They're basically sandwiched between two AM cars, with the Pro car bringing up the rear.
And they're definitely spicing things up here. A little bit of a two-way fight now forming, that Kevin Shepard and the Ashcroft Racing did also make a mistake, and you see on the timetables how close all of this actually is. Going to check in with the fight here for P6 though, I think, because Nate Newcomer in the Commune Racing is going to get a nice run here in the fight for P5. Daniel Barnett is in the AM class, or AM licensed Lamborghini ahead. Let's see if he can get something done. Not too much with a duck and weave there, trying to negate any and all possible slipstream coming into T1 here.
Yeah, he's really trying to defend that, isn't he? He's really trying everything he's got.
It's quite creative. You do have to give him that. Just almost intimidating. It's like a little snake dance that we're seeing from Barnett in the 15 here.
Well, the thing for Barnett though is he's the highest placed pro car by quite a mile. He's got tons of positions that he can give up if he wants to remain class leader.
Look at
it's not the end of the world, but yeah, he's.
Yeah, I want to put a highlight on that as well. The Lead Racing 15 started in P13 and was able in just 25 minutes to snatch 8 positions. How about that? Yeah.
That is probably impressive.
We did have a couple of incidents. For example, Jake Moore obviously is the name that rings a bell here when we're talking incidents. Look at that! What happened back there, down there in the picture?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I'll go. I'll try and rewind it so we can find out.
That's actually the RWB hacks that we're seeing there, stuck in the wall. You might want to bring up the replay there.
Yeah, there we go. We put replay on now.
Yeah,
and see what
getting you
happened.
center screen.
They're going around now. That's turn 9. I'm really curious. I'm wondering if he just outbraked himself into turn 10.
It's trying to go late and jumps to the inside, not giving much room or much opportunity. Then he jumps the curb, and that's the death sentence. And that's exactly where you don't want to end up. There's hardly any room that he can back out on. Oh, it's rough.
We've had him now fighting Rigel, it looks like, in that number 96 Mercedes. So I'll keep following it in the little window as well. But yeah, it's unfortunate for those guys.
So this basically means we have one car that's absolutely gone. That's Jack Camaletto, the Paradigm Shift 13 is just gone. He's just nowhere near anyone else. The only car that can really ruin his race is going to be the traffic that he's going to have to face in the second half. Or possibly himself with a driving mistake. Then in position number 2, Jerome Roiling originally started P2, is still P2, and was able to defend for a long time. It seemed like a fair move. Just somewhat shot the door there. So he now has a major gap to Emo Plate and the Tech 1 Racing Lexus here. Started originally in P5 and able to benefit from hacks dropping back and down the order. Then, as mentioned before, Daniel Barnett now with a 9th position in the bag, up in position 4, not really where we expected to see the AM class car, so obviously that's going to be an amazing feeling for Barnett there, who's being chased by Nate Newcomer, Commune Racing, jumping on board here, also gained 5 positions and is looking to make that 6, right up into T1, not again with the run. Seems like they're running maybe too much wing, and no real opportunities. Oh, he goes very deep. Barnett is gone, and he's going to be left in the dust. Or is he actually? Regains traction around the outside after that bit of a mistake, and shuts the door just in time, so that Nate Newcomer is going to be wiping away his tears a little bit there, considering how he had such a nice run and can't make anything out of it.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but yeah, that's racing. Unfortunately for him.
Yeah, so RWB Hacks is P6 right now, and the Grumpy Bastards number 55. It's something where he is probably looking to improve on, considering how he had possibly the pace for P2 here. That's for sure. For sure is as well that the Smart Crew number 96, piloted by RWB Rigel, is trying to hold on to this position for now. Considering they started P7 and are there still, maybe there's a little bit of room in the pace here. Marko Pedowski is in the RST Racing Sim Tools, that is number 92. That's the one and only Audi we'll be seeing tonight, representing that in position number 8 after starting 11th. Then Michael Topinka in the rrleagues.com. That's the Ferrari battle we were mentioning earlier at the start of the grid here. It's something we're continued to have a look at. I think we do have a battle for P4 here once again. Well, not quite. While we're watching the bottom right corner.
Currently watching Martin Schaefer still trying to get past Daniel Merchant. It looks like Kite Banks has managed to get through, and as has Mad Al. I have just noticed that the pit window currently is open, so they can go off and do an undercut, which a couple of cars have done. It looks like Jake Moore's in the pits. We've got Dirk Gretschel, who's gone in, as well as looks like Olivier Curtin as well has gone into the pits. So those guys, they are going into the pits now to try and get the undercut done. Because yeah, we've seen, we're seeing it right now with Daniel Merchant.
Yeah, and obviously Moore just getting the damage out of the way. So they had to be patient for quite a while now, and it's going to be 1.5 hours still left in here to make something out of it. And we do see a big snap of oversteer. That's really not the run that Martin Schaefer needs if he wants to make up a position. However, Shepard seemed very nice and steady through there, and he just jumps to the pit lane. That is, let's see if he can nail the entry. Ooh, it's a very tight pit lane entry actually. I've kind of seen people impale themselves on the wall there, not only in public lobbies but in some of these online races in the leagues too.
Yeah, definitely. It's quite tight. And the pit limits, the pit line is quite close. It's closer than you think. But yeah, at least it's not as bad as Paul Ricard's pit entry, because that one is properly horrible.
So, if I have to choose between Zandvoort and Paul Ricard in terms of the pit lane entry alone, I'd honestly go for Paul Ricard. I feel that the white line actually helps me enter there. The main reason why... Oh, it's a big slide there for the Ferrari, and then it's going to be gone. Ooh.
It's unfortunate news for Kevin Shepard, it looks like, who's gone off. And yeah, he rejoins to get passed by the P1 car. of Jack Camaletto.
Yeah, let's get that center screen, have a look what happened there. Jumping right into the cockpit here, get that basic HUD. Actually, I can't do that, unfortunately, so we are stuck in here, 4th and 3rd, nice and smooth turning, but what happens there? Front loses traction completely, and once you're on the grass, you're gonna be gone and out into the sand here. He's looking to rejoin on this very hilly outside. Whoa, avoiding contact there with position number 1, Jack Camaletto there in that Bentley of his.
Yeah, that's extremely unfortunate, but it is what it is, and maybe it's time for them to come in and maybe either do a driver swap to sort fatigue, or just refuel, or maybe even get some new tyres on. But we do have Nate Newcomer attacking Daniel Barnett that you have on the centre screen now, with the on-board for Nate Newcomer in the bottom right. Those guys are fighting for P4 currently, with Daniel Barnett in that green Lamborghini. Doing an amazing job for an AM class car. But yeah, coming up to some lap traffic up ahead.
There's another battle there in the background, it seems like. I think that might be once again an overtake based on just being lapped. So yeah, that's Orlando Telhero in that AMG of his. No chance of fighting back there, really being waved blue flags. However, Daniel Barnett is holding on tight now, once again very wide through there. So it seems that the one thing that if he wants to continue showing results like this for an AM ranked driving team, I think maybe working on the braking points, really, that's going to be the key. He's been running wide and deep into some of the turns quite a bit, I feel like.
Yeah, the Lamborghini's also got not the best brakes on the planet compared to the other vehicles. Like the Aston Martin, it's a perfect all-rounder. It can do everything and anything pretty well. I think I pretty much call it the beginner's car because anyone can pick up the Aston and drive it pretty well. It's just
100% agreed.
Yeah, it's just so balanced and it does everything that you want it to. Whereas a Lamborghini, it's a bit of a more tame Audi, a bit more sluggish in some regards, but yeah, they're doing a great job keeping it in P4.
The thing I fear, absolutely I do, with the Audi and the Lambo, just likewise, going to some high speeds corner, and we saw it with the Ferrari there, potentially with the setup not being quite right, it seems that it's super easy to just get some snap oversteer, which is just not something you can catch.
Yeah, the Audi especially, we've seen lots of cars at Spa in the past. It's pretty much at least 1 or 2 Audis go off at Eau Rouge. So it's probably tough for the Audi in terms of weight transfer and everything. But yeah, some guys can handle it, some people can set it up perfectly. And if they do, it's an absolute monster of a machine, can do everything really quickly. But yeah, there's just easier cars to drive and set up than the Audi and the Lamborghini.
Now, did you know that ACC obviously has the aggressive and safe presets? Now, with the Lambo and the Audi, there's something special because not all the cars have been it seems they haven't been all given the same amount of love when it comes to making the setup. Because the thing is, the front bump stop range is just really way too short for the car to function. It is always running on the bump stops, and that actually is 90% of the problem when it comes to the fact that it just snap oversteers. You're already running the front bump stops, which means that you're sitting on that little rubber piece, you could say, in the springs, and then if there's another big knack, for example, with the weight transfer there, it just jumps the car up all of a sudden. It's way different. The aero front, the front stalls completely, and that's when you lose the front end, and that's exactly what's happening there when you see it. So if you're out there watching, do me a favor and run 10, 15, somewhere in between there on your front bump stop range. It's just the easiest fix in terms of getting that right.
Yeah, it's it's interesting you say that there's a bit of love because you can see it with DLC cars that come out with new maps, new tracks. For instance, if you look at the Mercedes Evo at Imola, the base setup for the Mercedes at Imola is it's so unbelievably good. You can tell they spent all their time working on that setup for the car. So yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because there are definitely some tracks that Kunos are like, you know what, let's give this car some love over this car. But
Yeah. Sometimes having the identical setups posted on some of the, for example, GT4 cars, where it's like a different track. You just can't put the same setup, but they obviously did. Oh, he's going to be on the grass to the outside there. Let's see if he can salvage anything from it. Yeah, no contact with the wall, but RWB Hacks drops back once again and solidifies the fact that he's been stuck in 6th place for the longest time. Seems that he has to push the Bentley to its limits, and if the track limits are out of way, he's going to be running out of, space and perhaps talent. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah. I wonder if it's fatigue setting in or if he has some damage left over that's affecting the car. But either way, I'd bring him in if I was his teammate and just either swap him out or kind of when he's getting the car repaired and refueled, maybe some new tyres, just kind of speak to him and be like, look, are you okay? Like, get your head back on, take a sip of water or beer or whatever you're drinking and just kind of reset.
So, talking about that a little bit, choice of drink. In case you're driving something like this, are you going to be going for just plain water, coffee, energy drink, something even more, maybe a pina colada? Is that something that Josh would drink?
I'm quite a basic guy. I just drink my Pepsi Max. Maybe a couple, maybe some Monster Energy or whatever. Well, Red Bull. More of a Red Bull guy,
But which one is it then?
Red Bull. Sorry, it has to be Red Bull. I'm just thinking about Kai Banks's green Monster Mercedes right now.
Let's bring that center screen. Let's isn't that number RWB? I can't get my head around the fact that it's Kai Banks, which isn't what it says in game. Just come on, get that fixed, Kai. Get next race. I want to see you as Kai Banks driving here. Otherwise, I'm gonna be all over that Monster Energy area.
Yeah, there's some really good liveries out there that the drivers in RWB make. We've also seen some questionable liveries in the past. One that bears to mind was the Simply Sausages logo. I say that with quotation marks. The Simply Sausages livery that we saw FX run at the Suzuka race. That was questionable and not exactly PG friendly, but yeah, there's a lot of good liveries out as we see a McLaren going off the road.
Yeah, that's max speed. Not really the race they were looking for. That McLaren Shadow Project 146 here. Well, they're last in class, last around the grid, already having done 2 pit stops, and what we've seems like a busted hood once again. Chances are they're also going to be finishing where they are right now.
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but it might be that they're trying to get some practice in for in the future. But yeah, it's not what you want to see. We need to kind of get back into it and have another go. But yeah, it is what it is.
So what I've been looking at the past couple of laps is pace. Let's talk about pace a little bit. What do we have up at the front is a paradigm shift, changing the way that we're going to be looking at the Bentley around here. So I'm going to be just bringing this fully to your attention here. Jack Camoletto has done the fastest lap of the race with a 1:35.3. That's quicker than most people can do in quali.
Yeah, it's blistering pace. Sector 1's pretty much the same as everyone else, but then when you look at his Sector 2 and Sector 3 pace, like I have no idea what he's doing differently in Sector 3, but it's absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, you gotta look at the replay and figure out what he's doing, because that is absolutely the way to go. 1.5 tenths quicker than anyone else in the second sector, and almost 3.5-4 tenths faster than any non-Bentley in the last sector. How is he doing that? That's just miraculous.
I've no idea. We might have to sit on board with him, maybe in the small screen.
Yeah, let's go ahead. And actually, I'm going to bring you center screen. Have a look.
But yeah, we've got his pedal trace in the bottom right. This is the livery. This is the HUD he'll be seeing when he's driving. But you can see his throttle inputs, his brake inputs. He's so smooth on the throttle.
It seems a bit Jardy-esque So Jadia Honzig, or Jara's Love, I think is the actual name. It's something that real-life driver instructors are going to be slapping you for. Look at that. He's holding the accelerator as he's continuously trail braking. He isn't going up to 100%, but the most important thing is, look at this, up into the brakes just a little bit here, and he doesn't get off 30% throttle at all. He just keeps on honing it. If you're out there watching, you give that teammate of yours a kick in the ass, tell him, accelerate as you're braking. That seems to be the way to go. Way to go is for Carmelo to into the pits here as well. And he's looking to solidify this lead in the second and third stints that he'll be serving probably tonight.
Yeah, it's I've never seen that before. I've never noticed that in the top drivers. It just seems so counterintuitive, as we see P2 now go into the pits as well of Jerome Rearling. But yeah, I've never seen that before. I've never noticed it, as we see Emo Plates also go into the pits as well.
Pit lane is starting to get spicy here. Bring this back up into the picture. More cars in. I feel like it's the end of the pit window. RWB, Rigel, everybody in. Badowski very close there, actually. Till Hero once again right there with the Buster and Topinka. If Topinka goes in as well, yeah, I can be certain that this is just based on the fact they have to go in right now. Otherwise,
it's 45 minutes max stint that they can do, so they have to come in as we're coming up to they're on their 44th minute of the race, so if they haven't boxed,
have a look at
they
this.
have to come in now.
Hex with the undercut. They got in early, and look how many positions they're getting, right up into 4. That's beautiful. That's strategy. That's exactly what they were hoping to achieve with heading to the pit lane earlier. So RWB Hex here is one of the few drivers. Wait, no, I'm getting this wrong. So no, actually they do have a teammate in Tyrion. Never mind, I'm sorry. Wait, hold on about that. Hold that thought of yours. Jerome Royling is leading? What happened there? Binnersley, it lost like 30 seconds. Let's go back and have a look at what caused that. That's it might already be too late right there. They're just way behind. Something must have happened in the pit stop that they're now chasing.
Yeah, I wonder if they had a botched pit stop or if they just messed up slightly. Maybe they missed the box, or they were repairing extra damage. I just don't know. I've no idea what went wrong for them, but we've seen their pace, and I'm sure they'll catch back up.
Alright, I'm gonna put you center screen here so we can get some action, while in the bottom right I'm gonna be fetching the replay to get a hold of what essentially went down, or rather went wrong in all honesty. Pit entry, all dandy. I'm trying to find this. Doesn't look too bad. I spent a lot of time sitting there accelerating. I just can't believe Royling was behind 20 seconds. Did they change the brakes?
I have a feeling they may have changed tyres. Tyres take 30 seconds, and if they're refueling for 45 minutes, that'll take about 10 seconds. So it does kind of match up with 20 seconds. But
so what
you're
saying
they're changing
is
tyres now, and then everyone else will change tyres on their next stop, and they'll just keep running for next
right. I see. So maybe they're. I originally thought that the Bentley would be the car to run with tires for the longest time, but considering you're making that suggestion, I do think that probably explains it. Still, I'm very shocked, honestly, with the fact that they actually give away the lead, the clean air, and more importantly, the priority for everyone. Because now, what are they going to do with fresh tires? They're just going to be stuck behind Royling.
Yeah, exactly. I think if they can get the move done, because they'll be on the fresher tyres, whereas Royling will be on the older tyres. If he can get back in front, get the track position, he should be fine. But I mean, it's a risky gamble, because I mean, towards the end, everyone's going to be in the last 30-ish minutes on really fresh tyres compared to them on their really old tyres. They're going to have to take those on for about 1 hour 13 minutes, which is a long time for these tyres to go on for.
Yeah, I mean, what we are seeing here is 25 degrees on track, 18 in the air, and it is gonna stay sunny most likely until the end of the race. considering how it's already quite late into it. Now, they're actually not too hot, I think. I'm very, very puzzled. That's all I can really say. Wait, there's been a change in the lead again. Roiling must have lost it or something. Let's go back 30 seconds and hope that we are not going to miss it this time around.
It must have been an incident because Jerome Rolling's dropped down to P4 from P1, which is a massive drop down. But we've also got number 15 on the mini screen now, on the rear wing. That's with Robert De Vries, who's actually an Audi teammate, so big up him doing a good job in P7. But yeah, he's got number 96 Tyrion and number 92 Nayonen behind him. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happened to Roling. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I actually have to go back into the replay, so I'm gonna put you center screen again. So what I can see is that Royling's last lap was 151.7, and that's not something I would have expected. Now, something to note, just briefly before I'm gonna be heading into the pit replay to try and get ourselves some information, is there's a couple of cars that have actually gone in to do a pit stop with tires, as you mentioned. So obviously, we already talked about now Rick Bennesley and the parroting shift number 13 leading the race once again. Then we have Robert De Vries already changing tire here as well, now leading the pack ahead of two other cars that also went with the same train of thought, RWB Tyrion and the Smart Crew number 9, as well as that Turo Najonen in the RST Audi. So those are some of the cars that change tires, and they got about an 8-second gap, I'd say, to the cars ahead, and chances are they're going to be catching with quite a rapid pace.
Yeah, it's a properly good pace for those guys, but we're seeing now Tyrion going down the inside of De Vries into turn 1, but it looks like De Vries is trying to outbrake him, but that forces him a little bit wide, and he might be coming under pressure from Nayonen in the number 892 Audi.
I think if Nayonen would have forced that, he would have gotten the move done quite easily, and to be honest, it's not really the defense that he needs if he wants to continue fighting here right now in P8. But yeah, if he wants to keep his top 10 position, he's going to have to try and go harder than that.
Yeah, he does. I mean, for De Vries, he's been watching his teammate drive around, maybe watching and learning how that's going to work out, but that is very close between those two.
Yeah, has to open the door there, considering how much oversteer the sister car also, you could imagine, got. Even after the mistake, just look how closely he's narrowing down this gap once again, as we're following in the bottom right picture with the wing. Checking out how close this gets, you see that there is just a difference in pace. There's no way around that. You can't hide the fact that obviously the Audi seems to be putting in a lot more speed into some of the turns, being able to continue with traction. Instead, now chasing into turn 12 in just a minute here. So turn 12 coming right on up, then into turn 13, where Jordan is going to look for a run in the 92. Looks like he can do so. Now it's hopefully going to be flat out for him if he wants to get something done, and it seems that he will. Now let's see if he actually decides to fend this time, chasing him into T1, and he leaves the door on the inside open. Not this time though, not quite enough of a run. He could have been jumping him there, but he decided that it is not worth the risk that would bring, so he's just going to be chasing him through the first sector here and hopefully finding another opportunity. Look how close this gets. In all honesty, I think it's better for both the drivers if they just decided to mutually swap the positions, because I do think that there's an incident coming if they keep on going like this.
Yeah, they're getting very heated and very close to each other, so it is kind of getting quite risky for those two. But I mean, they're both really good drivers. They both know what they're doing, and hopefully they'll be respectful and not do anything too brash.
Same right there. We see the Audi's carrying much more speed to the entry there. It seems that this is likely going to be the moment where these two either divide or collide, depending on the gap that's going to be present next time they come around here.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes for those guys, but it's looking promising so far. Nothing horrendous has happened yet, and I mean, yeah, De Vries knows what he's doing, Nayonen knows what he's doing, so let's hope they can keep it clean and race respectfully between each other like we've seen from everyone else.
Yeah, I do like that attitude. We're seeing the bottom right. You can get a hold of the front splitter there that's attached to the Audi. See if it's going to be enough this time. Looks like there's still a bit of a gap. Not enough straight line speed, and probably running a lot of wing here as well in the RST number 92. That we have center screen right on for you.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. De Vries might be running a little less wing, which is why the Audi's catching up in the...
Oh no, that's the big slide to the outside grass. Whoa, that was tight. He would have almost given that front downforce a big slap in the face, because that would have probably ruined his race.
Yeah, he's not wanting that. That's not what he's wanting whatsoever. But yeah, he's going to be back on the chase to try and catch up to De Vries.
I just love how I keep finding these drivers. Corey, you got to give me that at least.
100%, man.
Oh, so for Tyrion in the 7th position here, chasing who we have center screen for you, Michael Topinka in the 91. That's the Ferrari trio. That's P5, 6, and 7 for you. So Tyrion actually last time around with the fastest fastest first sector for the Smug crew. So that's the personal fastest sector last time around. And now if I'm looking at the data, I think he's continuously pushing through here. And it seems that he's able to really shorten that gap. Again, last lap was very quick in the first sector, and overall as well, 36.1 coming across the line. And again, 36.3. That's 2 seconds almost in terms of the pace difference here between the two. He's definitely catching.
Yeah, definitely. We're also seeing Hacks catching up to Emo Plate as well. He's slowly working his way back forwards, but yeah, the number 55 car's not having a lot of luck tonight in terms of going off road. Maybe they've got a bit confused with the rallycross event, but yeah, it's going okay for them. It's not end of the world for those guys. I mean, considering what's been going on for them, they're doing a fantastic job keeping it in P3.
I mean, in real life, I think the Bentley crew actually did pull out. Let me actually get. Wait, which one? No, what was the fight in the bottom right? Getting all this messed up. Sorry about that. So in the real life, didn't they like pull out in the Bentleys from the GT3 SRO? Is that something that was happening? I think it was, right?
I think so. I know the Bentley crew. Well, Bentley's no longer making any more race cars, any more GT3s.
Right.
They're pulling out. So there will still be privateer teams and independent teams running, but there's no more Bentley GT3 racing in terms of manufacturer point of view. So it's unfortunate and sad to see them go. It's always great to see these massive, colossal monsters going for it around the track. But yeah, it's just not what you want to hear from such a great car.
Yeah, I mean, considering the performance that you were talking about as well, maybe it's going to be Rallycross up next. It's probably the wrong game for it though. What are we watching bottom right? That is still the defense, if I'm not mistaken, which is the fight for position number
so that one's for P8, yeah, that's correct. It's between De Vries in the number 15 Lamborghini in that green car, with the number 92 Audi driven by Turo Neonen. Still trying to have a go at each other. A little bit of scraps going into turn 1. But yeah, De Vries is doing a good job trying to keep Neonen behind. But yeah, it's kind of a question of who's going to break first, I think, at this stage.
Yeah, while we did have both of these pushing for the biggest part, it's exactly that. Who is going to break? Who has the nerves to hold on to this? Because not only are you fighting in the sense of a defense, but also you just really can't make a mistake on either end of the equation. Otherwise, there's going to be some. Sorry, that was I was getting ready to go screaming on about. Actually, I will.
That's brilliant move. Brilliant move by Neil.
Around the outside. What a setup! And now there he is, just right on the head. And I do think that De Vries might have a chance, considering we talked about the superior top speed he seems to have. Let's see if that actually comes true as they're chasing each other. Turn 13, number 15 right on the tail, down to 9th position. And I think we're going to be seeing Jordan seal the deal. Yeah, that's a bit of a gap there for sure.
Yeah, we're seeing in the bottom right RWB Hacks going for P2 against MO Plate and the number 917 Lexus. And that looks like that's Hacks and the number 55 Bentley getting the move done nice and dusted at turn 9. Beautiful move. He actually set it up properly and managed to get the move done in time. And he's already starting to build a gap to MO Plate in that Lexus.
Yeah, we did see Roiling jumping to the pits early there as well with the undercut attempt. So I think those two not fighting for too long might end up benefiting both drivers here, than the 917 and the 55, who have been. Yeah. Go ahead.
But we're also seeing the power of the front engine cars being in P1, 2, 3, 4 as we see Kai Banks going a little bit off track there. But yeah, you can see it's 2 Bentleys in P1, P2. Maybe that's just the car you want to drive around here.
Yeah, they certainly make it look like it. So that's really surprising. So we have the 2 Ferraris there, which used to be 3. Probably there's going to be Roiling doing the 3rd stint. Yeah, you can see it there on the left hand side. Chances are he'll be joining those two in the fight for P5 here once again. Everybody has to get into the pits one more time here before the end of the race. Pit stop window should be closing in about 25 minutes time.
Yeah, it's they technically can, their final pit stop with the pit window will be open in 15 minutes, with the max stint being 45 minutes, so they can do their final pit stop in 15 minutes as we tick over into the final hour of the race. So that's us just through the 50% mark. But yeah, looking at Bull trying to get past Schaefer and gets all kinds of squirrely under braking and unfortunately misses out, and it looks like he's going to be getting passed maybe by the Ferrari behind.
That actually is traffic. I think that's position number 23, John McCain right there. So the Mike Bull Optimum Motorsport 68 had to go a little bit evasive there to avoid any further contact, considering that they still have to carry this around for a couple of more minutes before the scheduled pit stop. So it's a bit of a pace difference there into turn 1. But obviously you got to follow up with the racecraft there as well, and chances are he'll have to continue chasing here for a little bit, because Aston, Lexus, they honestly don't take it with each other too much. I think it's really just down to the wire who has the pace and who has the opportunity to maybe get creative with around the outside move, holding it around turn 1, 2, 3, and perhaps even 4.
Yeah, I think Mike Bull, he knows that if he can sort out the braking into turn 1, he's got a shot at getting past Schaefer. But we've seen Schaefer, he knows what he's doing when he's defending, but yeah, we also saw him trying to attack, doing the same move Mike's trying to do. So I'm just wondering if he's going to go inside or outside this time round as they go back onto the pit straight, heading towards turn 1. We can see Schaefer pulling to the inside. Yeah.
This time he's no silly thoughts there from Bull. Also, you would think he's probably still guessing if he could go and one-up him, go even further to the inside there, because really that is where you want to be. Right on around there, chasing very, very closely. You see it in the bottom right there with the follow-up wing camera. That's something you would also get in the real-life broadcast, but probably not quite in as much detail as we're able to show it to you here in ACC. It's very nice getting this high-quality camera work in for you guys. I hope you enjoy it just as much as we do commentating over it.
Yeah, it's nice to actually be able to put in the multi-integrated live feed as I call it, or the MILF. I do love it, and it definitely makes it a lot more interesting.
I mean,
for the co-commentator.
Who really doesn't love a good MILF commentary? That's just top of what you can get on a Saturday evening, in my opinion.
Yeah, everyone enjoys a MILF on a nice Saturday night. It's never too old. And yeah, it's nice and refreshing to have the MILF every now and then.
That is something that I'm probably going to frame and put on my wall. Something up on his wall. Mike Bull is right in the camera there. You can almost guess how much top speed that he's looking to find before now joining a very defensive Schaefer here. Fortin won funsies, but this time around it's same old story. Nothing quite yet in store as they continue in this three-way merry-go-round.
Yeah, we've also got a battle in the bottom right between Charger, Jake Moore, and Kai Banks. They're kind of yo-yoing between each other. Nothing overly amazing happening between those guys, but now it's on to the run for T1. Go over to Helicam. We can see Charger pulling to the inside, defending the inside line. Maybe giving a little bit of a squeeze, but no, he gives room enough for Jake Moore to go around the outside, but he goes in a little bit too deep and Charger keeps the position.
That is exactly the most difficult overtake, but also the most satisfying one. You have to nail the breaking point into that. If you want to get comfy around the outside, you have to get the grip there as well. It is not quite as banked as you would need it to be. I think that the bottom right, you saw it just briefly there as we're jumping on over Mike Bull now to the outside, and it's going to get a very nice run, and it's going to be Schaefer that is stuck here too wide as there's a car on the inside there too. Now having to leave room once again. Let's see if they're continuing side by side. Is he going to pull out? There's no room for either of the two as they're continuously around the outside there, and see no grass being touched. They're very respectful as they're fighting for that position number 10 as if it would be the final battle, final lap of the race. They surely really want to show each other what they can pull off, and by the looks of it, where Mike Will can't pull it off yet, it is something that is about to happen though, considering how he just keeps on catching him. But more on that in just a moment.
Yeah, we've all, still got those guys fighting with Godzilla, Jake Moore, and RWB Charger. It looks like maybe Tavarian's also getting involved now as well, so we've got a four-way battle as they go down towards the start straight. But we've also got a lapping car coming through as well, trying to get past, and that's kind of given Jake Moore the opening he needed to get past Charger. That's Jake Moore using a lapping car to his advantage to get past Charger, which is a brilliant move done by him.
Very sneaky, and what you notice is that these guys have a very different strategy, considering that Moore had to repair all of that damage after the first lap incidents. There's some cars in there that already have their pit stops, almost in the sense taking away themselves from that equation, because they are technically ahead once all pit stops have been served. But regardless of that, it's something very advanced, honestly, to use that opportunity, just following through with the lapped car, the traffic, not something that you often see.
No, it's a fantastic move, and kudos to him for doing it, and actually knowing that the car behind him was a lapped car, like a lapping car, and using it to his advantage to sneak past Charger. Fantastic stuff. But seeing Kai Banks maybe trying a dummy on Charger into turn 10, but he doesn't quite pull it off. Charger's putting the car in the right places to
yeah, he was faking a move there, but door is shut. Yeah,
brilliant dummy for him. We've also got Martin Schaefer still trying to fend off Mike Bull up in P10, P11. Nothing much happening between those guys. Those guys are still yo-yoing about. But we also have R. Madley fighting Mad out as well in P13 and P14.
Now, that is actually something that Madley in the fake taxi was probably not really hoping for, because they went into the pits way ahead of everyone else. And the obvious idea would be, okay, I'm going to get some clean air, I'm going to get ahead, but now they're going to actually get past some of the other cars, and that's going to prove difficult for sure.
Unfortunately for those guys, the max stint time, 45 minutes, means they'll have to play 7 minutes if they want to try that. So effectively, they've done an extra pit stop, unfortunately. So if you're seeing a green box next to their name, they've done an extra pit stop compared to everyone else who's only got an orange box. But
that last
pit stop and still be there is pretty good going for those guys.
Must have been damage on there as well, because what we are seeing is a 1 minute 20 pit stop where a tire change usually takes a minute 0.3, minute 3 seconds, minutes 5 seconds, depending if you get all the little techniques right when it comes to entering the pit lane. Entering the fight here for P13 is a very aggressive looking taxi there that's chasing L, and I do reckon that it's not going to take long before we see an orange nose diving to the inside of that McLaren.
Yeah, I wonder if he's gonna try and look down the inside. He's definitely looking, showing his nose there, and he does take a late lunge into it, but I wonder if Maddow can get the cutback. No, unfortunately he can't. He's not quite there, and that was an impressive lunge by Madley to get that move done, properly diving up to the inside and getting it job done.
It's some long distance fencing, honestly. He just showed the inside, and there was really no way for Al to defend that. Once he had that opened, there was no way that door was ever going to be shut before Madley takes P13 here, about an hour and 10 minutes into the race.
It was properly good stuff from him, getting it done. Now we're looking at Christopher Tavarian trying to get past Charger, with Kai Banks chasing closely behind on the tail. You can see Kai Banks getting all kinds of squirrely and unfortunately manages to hold it, but that's him losing a couple of seconds to Tavarian there. But yeah, well held by Kai Banks.
I want to get some onboard action there as well before I'm jumping into my analysis mode to talk a little bit about the driver, or my driver of the second stint. We'll get on with that in a little bit, because I do want to get a piece of that action here. Smoked salmon and fries, trying to smoke the car ahead with a beautiful move there. Not quite happening that time around. Charger is able to bring the 69 into a position which is not just favorable for him, but also going to be costing even more time to Treverin on the exit there with a 58. Not really able to get something done on the entries a lot of the time, I feel like. It's mostly the runs out of the corners, being able to go slow in and fast out. That's something that maybe he wants to develop on some other areas as well.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, but we can see Tavarian, he's got a nose in on the inside as they go into T1. Slightly breaks a little bit out. Looks like Charger's going to try and stick a nose in on the inside, but unfortunately it looks like move done by Tavarian.
Yeah, that's quite a clear cut there as well. Again, just opening up the door there. If you can, just send it over to the right hand side. Spot your braking point. Maybe do some practice, obviously, before the race. Just getting a very late dive into there. If you can control it, there's hardly anything that the opposition can do in the fight one-on-one.
Yeah, it's important to, when you're practicing, not just practice doing the racing line, but also try and practice taking alternative lines so you know where to brake. You know if you can out-brake someone into a corner. If you know where your braking points are on all the lines.
Talking about out-braking, Kai Banks finds it a challenge to stop the AMG in time there. The 34 going very wide into turn, I believe that is 9.
Yeah, it is. I wonder if he's getting a bit of fatigue setting in. It is a bit late at night in the UK, so I'm wondering if he's kind of getting a little bit tired, or he's had a long day. But yeah, I think it might be time to swap over in 3 minutes' time when the max stint timer comes in for the final pit window. But yeah, it's a tough one for him. He's really struggling out there, it seems.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the driver of the second stint. I like to to call it. That would be two very, very good options here. Obviously, the fact that Jake Moore was able to find 5 positions is very impressive, but that is something that we somewhat expected from a driver of his level. Originally starting in P3, now way down the order and fighting back up. But what I want to put a highlight on is RWB Tyrion, who is impressing us with originally starting P7, used to be P8, right around 40 minutes ago, and 36.7. That's basically the pace of P1. It's definitely quicker than P2. So he's got the pace, he's got the position, and by the looks of it, he's also got his setup figured out. I think that's my driver of the second stint right on here, center screen.
He has done a fantastic job, but we also have to kind of give a shout out to Nate Newcomer, who I believe is doing the entire race by himself. It's probably daunting doing 2 hours by yourself, as we mentioned earlier, but yeah, fair play to him being up in P4 and sticking with it all the way through.
And he's approaching a little bit of traffic here in this indirect fight. Jake Moore is probably the reference here for newcomers. They're coming around the turn number 13. Not gonna even bother trying to pronounce any of that, despite me actually living in Germany. Is Dutch is just something that you usually we don't do a lot of. It's I don't know. It's something. It's something that's yeah, not really done a lot.
Yeah, you don't talk to those guys.
It just doesn't happen. But they do have some nice racing tracks. We have to give that to them. Bottom right, and now as well chasing here in the middle of the screen is Martin Schaefer in what seems to become a 3-way fight here with Simcox in the number 25. That's going to be position 9, 10, and 11 right on here with this pack. Oof, they've just been running about. Same pace, same story, really.
Chilling.
Yeah.
I've been following them all the way for a while, for about 10 minutes, and yeah, it's just very chilled for them. They're not really doing much. But saying that now, it's just, the pit window is just about to open up in 3 seconds, 2, 1, and that is now the pit window open for the final pit stop for these guys. So expect to see some people diving into the pits for the undercut, or maybe some people try and go long and stretch out their last tyres to have a massive push at the end.
Now, what I want to have a little look at, last time around, and so it seems just a bit in general, the first sector of Simcox continuously 1 or 2 seconds off pace. Rest of the lap is completely fine. It's just the first sector where they seem to be losing a bit of time. Maybe it's time to have a quick look from the teammate. Get the line fixed, because that's something crucial for the remaining 40 minutes if they want to maintain that 1 second gap that they currently have. Martin Schaefer now is able to hold on to it once again, because he's going to be going defensive side by side for just the briefest moment before the Lexus is able to stay right on ahead. Just no way of Bull getting past.
Yeah, unfortunately Martin Schaefer went very deep there as well, to allow him to get attacked at turn 9 by Mike Bull. But yeah, it's still going well for Schaefer. Yeah, Simcox is kind of getting away from them.
So how about we use this opportunity and run right on through the field? Actually, no, it's the fight still. You see it in the bottom right. That's just yeah, that's the pit lane actually. That's
Martin Schaefer going in.
It's very defensive, I was about to say, running all the way to the right, but that defense is actually the pit stop strategy starting to unfold with 43 minutes into the race. Just before everybody's heading in, Rick Bennersley, paradigm shift, is back up at the front, number 13. Then already up in the pit lane is RWB Hacks Grumpy Bastards Racing, number 55. It's the second Bentley right on out there. Then Aero Plate also right in to the pit lane, jumping there in the 917. Then Nate Newcomer follows right on up before RWB Tyrion is going to be crossing through turn 13. Chances are we'll also see him in next to pit road in just a second here. Actually, he will opt to do one more. Mikhail Topinka, rleaks.com, also still one pit stop to go for the 91. Then representing Audi here, Turo, Nate John and the Racing Sim Tools sponsoring tonight's broadcast. Then Robert De Vries in the lead, racing number 15. Right on up there, P8 and P9 were beheld by Ian Simcox in the Golden Oldies, 25 ahead of Mike Bull, who has to maybe think about coming in this time around, avoid the undercut that's potentially happening to him right now. RWB madly in the fake test. He started P2, now 11th. It's been up and down for them all around the race. Matt L in the Suffolk Legends, number 4, is sitting in position number 12 ahead of Christopher Treveran, who we've been seeing in the Lambo here in the background. Strong performance from the Lambo lads, I have to say that for tonight. Matt Tarbach is in the Lexus, however, P5. Number 5 in position 14 ahead of this little fighting pack being led by the one and only Charger in the 69 right there. That's actually, I think, lapped cars, is that so? Let me get that figured out. No, it's actually leading RWB Tyrion and P16 RWB Godzilla. So moving back on down the order continuously, we have Dale Kelleher in the 175 AMG, representing in the AM class, currently 3rd in class right on there. Peter Varga in the Soul Race team, number 12 is the car that you were following right on there. Kevin Shepard is 19th in the Ashcroft Racing Ferrari. Then Jake Moore, currently P20 with the pit stop under his belt. Things are about to shift around their way, hopefully. So Auden Sön also with the pit stop already served in the 543 Porsche. Then John McCain, Zero Force Racing, is 22nd right on here. It's going to be Danny Boyle in the Nations League Racing. Not truly the race they were hoping for, but still not last is the, as the fist goes up, not last. That's what their motto is going to be. Rafael Mato isn't too far off, and the Moon 21 after a very spectacular last time round. Now the only thing that's too spectacular is the fact that the hood is as open as it is tonight.
Yeah, it's unfortunate with damage. I would have thought, oh, we just see there Kai Banks unfortunately hitting Charger, but doing the right thing of waiting for Charger to get right back round. But of course they're still on the racing line, so we have to be careful that there's no one coming up behind them. But yeah, that's unfortunate news there.
It's going to be costing them quite a bit, considering I think that both already... Did they already go to the pit lane?
I'm not too sure.
Oh, that's another big... Oh, and he's going to take it out on the exit there. That's tragic.
Schaefer passing through as well. That is unfortunate, but it looks like Charger also got caught out. So they're going to continue having this little battle, but it looks like like, that's not my fault. Charger, I'm going to keep going.
Oh, that spells disaster for them. Start of the 3rd stint, just horrendous for them. Ah, that's a yikes. Oh, in the effect of all of that, basically just being caught in the middle on the outside there, not really involved with the incident, just until the front catches the left tire and starts to send him around spinning.
Well, we're seeing some flashing there, but it looks like they're letting Mike Bull know that he wants to get past. But yeah,
it's really not what Bull is probably gonna go for. A newcomer. He's been looking. He's been holding one arm in the door in this fight here for position. Well, it isn't. Unfortunately, it's not position 4. That would have been nice. It's position 5 actually, where newcomer is probably going to take that after the Lambo goes grass diving, and that's De Vries being sent back into position 6.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I think Mike Bull was. I think he's got a lapped car behind him waiting to go faster. So it's interesting to see this lapped car sitting behind, being like, come on, let's keep going. You're supposed to be faster than me. Come on, pick up the pace. But yeah, it's interesting to see.
Just little taps. Come on, then. Just with the whip from the distance. I do like that. So Tyrion still to serve a pit stop. I think, yeah, 31-second gap. Jesus Christ, that's a big one. So Binnesley also still with a pit stop to serve, and there's more contact. Oh, the third stint. Jeez, Louise.
Yeah, same spot as Charger and Kai Banks lap before. That's getting fatigue must be setting in at this stage after a long day, after a long week. So yeah, it's getting tough for these guys trying to stay awake. But yeah, let's try and keep it clean, lads.
Yeah, it's we have to send that message out to the drivers. There's still some pit stop, and chances are damage will be repaired there. But now think about some of the cars jumping to the pit lane early, hoping to avoid exactly this chaos that's been costing time, and probably also to the inside he goes then. Very deep one. Let's see if he can make it stick. Oh, with ease. Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful from those guys, keeping it in. But yeah, I have a feeling that is actually a lapped car that's unlapped itself from.
Yeah, that's Moore. Yeah.
So yeah, it's good to see them going for it and pushing ahead and being like, no, just because I'm lapped doesn't mean I'm going to be stuck here. I'm going to keep going.
I mean, if we're looking at the time, so Jake Moore here, P17, is actually second fastest overall in the first sector. No, he's third fastest in the first sector. So considering that he's P17, that is absolutely not representative of the pace that he could be doing in an ideal situation. If you can just rewind the race and go back, which is something that we are actually hopefully going to do. Now I do find myself in the position where I'd have to go back to the main menu and get this replay of the start of the race, which is something I'm probably going to do, as Jake Moore lunges round the outside. Beautiful setup. Number 25 is just left in the dust as Moore continues to plow through the field here at Zandvoort.
Yeah, he's a man on the mission right now, trying to unlap himself so he can go on and try and catch up to Charger in order to battle him.
Ooh, have a look at this. Hold on for just 1 second here. I want to point a quick spotlight on Phil Varley here, the Grumpy Bastards Racing. Last lap around, he set the fastest second sector, almost a tenth quicker than previous fastest sector holder, which would be Binnesley. So also picking up the pace big time here in the Grumpy Bastards 55 on that fresh set of tires. He's probably going to carry home until the end of the 2 hours tonight.
Yeah, but he's still doing a fantastic job. Doing it by himself. Unfortunately, his teammate Justin is unable to race tonight. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but yeah, he's still doing a sterling job, as Justin says. Yeah, Nate is doing a sterling job.
Yeah,
I'm getting Nate and Phil Varley mixed up. That's the problem. Both drive BMWs for me, but
it can happen. Yeah,
it does happen. But yeah,
it's just the wrong car, right?
It is the wrong car, but yeah, Nate Newcomer in P5 is doing an absolutely amazing job, keeping with it and staying in P5. But yeah, Phil Varley, he's just set another purple in Sector 1 just now, so he's probably on the pace. In fact, that's him got fastest lap now. Yeah, fastest lap of the race for Phil Varley. And I'm interested to see what he can do with it. 30 minutes still left in it. Now, what I want to know is, how comes he didn't really showcase this earlier? What happened there? Yeah, I wonder if he let his other teammate go in first. But yeah, I'm kind of struggling to remember who was in when. But yeah, he's doing an absolutely great job so far.
So
yeah,
following that sandwich, it is late at night. Time for a snack is what Peter Pack is gonna think when he starts around the outside here, going past that Aston Martin in the fight here for P6, because he's very much being chased by Madley.
Yeah, Madley's doing a sterling job as well, trying to keep up with Peter Peck. But yeah, it's been a tough job for those guys. They've kind of been sat behind each other. Of course, they're in the same car, different setups, but yeah, they're probably pushing now, trying to keep up with each other.
I'm struggling. I honestly wanted to reset some of the positions here in the background to give me a better understanding of what's been going on the third stint. There's still cars out there that haven't done their pit stop. I'd reckon it's going to be maximum 5 minutes until the previous stint timer is going to run out, and they're going to be forced up into pit road.
Yeah, this is the last opportunity that they can go in. They've only got about 2 minutes 40, 2 minutes 30 left on the clock before they're done effectively. So they have to go in pretty much this lap. Otherwise, they're kind of screwed.
Yeah, let's have a look there. Rick Binnersley. Oh, there's a big jump in the background. What is that? Oh, Godzilla. And that's going to be the bonk right there. Let's go back 30 seconds and have another look what led to this. Number 20, number 34 reversing. Oh. Alright, we're following through now up the hill here. Fifth gear being used, quite curious. I probably would stick to fourth and third, and then the oversteer, and it keeps on giving to the outside. And there's a contact as he's being shoved out wide and goes jumping. Is this bumper cars or what? Oh.
Yeah, he really went bounding over the hills, didn't he? Unfortunately, I think that was just... I have a feeling that the car behind didn't expect Clyde to be sliding out. Didn't realise that there was a blue lap car on the outside as well. It was kind of a rock and a hard place for him.
I do like that. I do like that. Honestly, I was going to go on about how you'd usually see different kind of cars doing the hill climb. But we've had that that sort of momentum with some other cars there previously as well. Is he's maybe giving us a little sign on the broadcast that we should move on over as he jumps to P20 because Ball is in the pit lane right now in the 145.
Yeah, it's going well for those guys. I've seen Phil Varley out in the car as well on the bottom small screen making his way past lap traffic. But yeah, it seems everyone's kind of slowly settled into their spots, as what tends to happen with the longer duration races. So yeah, everyone's kind of relegated to their spots, but we've still got some battles happening out there.
Yeah, fight for P20 then. I'd reckon that Søren is going to try and get past quite soon. Maybe we can bring that up in the bottom right as well. So we're following through the second sector where Vale seems to be the quickest out there right now.
Yeah, he is doing a mega job. We're trying to get like bearings on who's doing what, as we've got some cars still pitting, some cars not.
Almost Baron, but it's Barrows actually fighting for P12 here in the Optimal Motorsport 68. It's just the best transitions, and you don't even know. you're just throwing me these. No, how do you say in English? You're handing me these. Trying to make an analogy with sports where somebody's pitching something, throwing a ball. You're throwing me the ball. Is that what they say?
Sure. My head's fried right now.
Then I'm going to take that one. Probably. Probably Justice Barrows is going to take position 12. You can get a nice run out of there, considering Varga up in the front doesn't seem to have the straight line speed anymore, with the hood slightly open more than as per manufacturer description. Let's see if he's going to jump to the inside. No, it's just casually bringing it in there and holding that position 13 for now. Probably looking for a different opportunity. For example, just as another Lexus is looking to fight past into the podium here. It's going to be the fight for P3 that we have sent a screen for you. Tech 1 Racing Door on the 917 wants to get past RWB Tyrion, which is holding on in this, where, unfortunately for me, chrome-based livery. That's probably one of the RST liveries, which I just haven't had time to download yet, unfortunately.
Top tier commentary coming to you guys right here.
You're only the best for the best. Well, Bittersley still not to the pits. What's happened there? I thought that was 2.5 minutes. Are they just not going to go for it?
Unless my maths is wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's exceeding his max stint time. Unless they had damage earlier, I don't No, that's not possible. He should be in. I have a feeling he might have gone over his max stint time.
Well, he might be in then, because I think that's actually punishable, not by death, but actually a drive-through, if not further repercussions from just ignoring the race commission. You really don't like that, do they?
No, they hate that. They hate that with a passion. Yeah, he should have gone in. Seeing Charger getting someone getting very friendly with Charger's rear end as he's getting lapped in the bottom
bringing
screen.
that up
But
for you to see here.
that was a lapping car trying to pass Charger at T6. But yeah, it's
I'm going to be giving you center screen while I'm preparing the replay of the race start. So unfortunately, I'm going to be all out of details. I hope you have the position gains updated somewhere so you can let us know what happened in the different stints here, because I'm...
yeah, I can try and work it out. I've got them from the very beginning, but I wasn't quite as prepared as you.
It's the
Keeping it all
multitask.
updated.
Tyrion, as we mentioned earlier, gaining 5 positions basically in the second stint here now and third. Otherwise, Madly lost 7 positions, 9 in total, but 7 from those coming from that second stint, not what they were looking for. And I'm gonna be back with the start of the race in just a second. 26 minutes still up in there.
Yeah, we're currently following Barros trying to get past Peter Varga. Pretty sure Peter Varga is one of the team principals for the Constructors Series, if I remember correctly. But yeah, we're seeing now Barros has got the perfect drive. He's currently lining up behind him, trying to get hints of slipstream, but he just can't keep up. Diving to the outside to get a move done. Sticking around the outside, but it looks like Varga's got the better run through on the inside. Interesting that they both opted to run on the marbles as well, so ruining their slick tyres and reducing the grip that they have. So maybe Barros should have stuck to the outside slightly without ruining his tyres. But of course, that's then coming up to a lapped car now. That is being blue flagged as they go on through. But yeah, it's getting very close between those guys trying to, stay ahead. But I'm wondering if that's more lapped cars that are catching up behind them as well. So we'll see what goes on for the 2 Mercedes cars that we see behind them. But yeah, we're
It's
seeing blue
very
flags being
close,
shown
yeah.
everywhere.
Very close. Barros and Varga there in the fight for P12. Following this from the track side here and being commentated on beautifully by Josh here. He's joining me in the broadcast booth. My name's Nicholas, and what you're watching is some of the most exciting Zandvoort racing I think you're going to be seeing in a long time. So if you're enjoying that, then make sure you do subscribe and check out Racing Sim Tool, which are sponsoring tonight's broadcast.
Yeah, it's what you said. Yeah, it's going well for those guys. They're currently pushing hard, trying to stay ahead. But yeah, it's going quite tough for Barros, trying to find any way he can past Varga. It looks like he's going to try and get a run currently now, but I wonder if he stuck his nose up the inside of Varga too soon. Up ahead, we still have Billersley in P1, although we suspect that something's gone wrong with their pit stops and their max stint timers, as they haven't pitted according to our timing screens, which you can see on pitwall.live if you want to get a more detailed view of what's going on. We still have Phil Varley in P2. He's doing a stellar job, with P3 being RWB Tyrion in the number 96 car. And Dort sits in P4 with Nate Newcomer soloing it out in P5 in the number 97 vehicle.
I mean, he just had to get that, didn't he? Right?
Of
Door not in P4. How's that going to work at all?
He had to be there, didn't he? He's thinking about us, he's trying to make it fun for us.
He could have been P1, but he's just taking one for the team.
Yeah, of course, easily get it. But we're seeing Varga being squeezed as Barros tries to get up the inside there through turn 8, but now they're heading up into turn 9. It looks like Barros is going to try and get the cutback, but he can't quite make it with Varga covering it off perfectly well. Heading on now towards turn 10 of Audi S-Bocht. As they head on now, we're seeing the Mercedes getting very close and nearly tapping the back of Barros, but luckily no harm, no foul goes on, and that Mercedes loses a position, it looks like. But we're seeing them now heading on towards turn 12 of Kummerbocht as they head on now to Ari Luvenukbocht of turn 12, trying to get another run. Let's see if they can actually make it work this time for Barros. Again, electing to go onto the marbles and ruining their slick tyres. It's a strategy that works in the wet, lads, but not quite well in the dry. That's now. It looks like Barros can't quite get the move done. I'll try and see if we can find some more action out there.
Let
as
me
it's
actually
getting...
bring this right on over, because I've just been astounded looking at your footage right on there. I've actually prepared the race star for us to get a watch, and we have the story here tonight. Story of a tragic fate. Print it out, put it on a newspaper, because Moore has been struck by lightning, and we're gonna see out how exactly that happened in the replay here from the start, bringing that up right for you. So here we are then, and you see that Moore in the 88 here as well. We are gonna be chasing on the track side, and up you see there are red lights still for now, but not for long. They're gonna be heading into the start of the race here, and then it's going to be green lights in just a second. He gets a very nice run, actually. Very close here, too. To P1, which doesn't seem to get the start that he wants Camaletto there in the number 13. And now this into turn 1 is going to be disastrous in just a little bit. Now getting a nice run on Roiling, yeah, and there's not a lot of space. They make first contact, second contact, and then third, and then that's going to be it. Oh, look at that. That's just horrendous.
That's not what you're wanting that whatsoever for the start of a race.
It took him 3 turns
it looks like a bit of pinball,
to seal the deal.
Yeah, as Sebastian Vettel once said, is this racing or ping pong? Because unfortunately, Jake was kind of thrown all over the place. But yeah, he's done a good job to kind of recover from that in some aspects, but we're currently looking on the small screen at the battle for P3, 4, 5 currently, as they're coming up to lap traffic of the battle we're looking at between Varga and Barros as well. So these guys are properly going at it. One Mercedes going all over the place and unfortunately going onto the runoff area. They're at turn 6, which is not what he's wanting to do, but yeah, it's properly getting intense for those guys, with Tyrion doing a stellar job of trying to stay ahead of Door, but now he's going to have to negotiate some back markers in order for him to try and keep on pushing forward. Wondering if we'll see another kind of scenario where we see cars using advantage of traffic to try and make a pass through, but it looked like Tyrion is getting held up slightly, and that's allowed Door to close up slightly.
Yeah, while I'm figuring out everything on my end, I do really want to say thank you very much for to everyone out there watching and supporting these drivers. I think it's quite amazing. Do you have it open still, the stream? I think it's quite some active chat in there as well.
Yeah, the guys in chat have been chatting for quite a while, trying to support their drivers and their teammates. I think some of the people's teammates are watching the streams to try and figure out what's going on for their teammates. As well, for me, whenever I'm driving, I don't want to talk to my teammates whatsoever. I want them to be quiet and not talk, but unfortunately that's just because they talk an absolute load of shit half the time. But yeah, still got Door. He's going to be wanting his teammate to be very quiet as he tries to find a way past Tyrion. They're still negotiating lap traffic, and they're actually coming up to Barros and Varga. Those guys were battling it out, so yeah, we'll see what happens. Maybe Barros can use the traffic to his advantage and try and pass Varga. Maybe Door will use the traffic as well to try and get past Tyrion, but they're getting very close to each other now as they're trying to catch up to the... It
really is the multi-use traffic here tonight. If you can't get past, just use a different car, put them in a position where that's going to be relevant to their own line. And once again, I think he is going to send it just for a brief moment. They're holding that inside and forcing the Ferrari wide. It's not going to be enough for now, but as long as he can keep it up the pressure like he is doing right on there, it's very, very difficult in this three-way fight. So we do see the Ferrari up ahead. That is your position number 3 racer here, Tyrion. Then in the number 917 we have right then center screen is actually no, let's keep it like that. So Door in the Tech 1 Racing 917, and then newcomers, they both exchanged lanes there for just a second, not quite sure where they want to go, and around the outside is where Door seems to want to go. Now that's going to put him in a bit of a pickle here. Newcomer's going to have the inside round here. Can he hold on to it? And now with late braking, they're going to be side by side up into turn 4, into one of the more difficult bots to navigate around Zandvoort here. No moves this time, but a bit of a sweat dripping from Door's forehead there, I'd imagine.
Yeah, that was extremely tense for Door. That just kind of highlights the Door that if he does make a mistake trying to pass Tyrion, Newcomer is there to try and take the place back. He will go for it. And he's not going to slouch and just kind of sit back and wait for him to pass Tyrion. He's going to make a move now.
Yeah, and we have this three-way fight now approaching the two-way fight where nobody has been able to get past for the majority of the race, and they're going to be split up in a second here. Either
it looks like Varga went off track, unfortunately.
Oh, right.
So that's now Barros ahead, and it looks like he's finally letting the faster cars through.
I want to try and get that in. Vargas, he said, went off track. Yeah, I'm going to put that just briefly here. At the bottom right, you're going to be seeing that incident. Number 12, Varga here, to the outside and onto the grass, and that's just no way to recover. Luckily, able to stop the car in time and slot back in at the end of the fighting group here. Oh, another very much sideways AMG. Just quickly showcasing that on stream, saying hello. What a beautiful shot that is, really. Almost 2 hours into the race, and we're still seeing so much action.
Yeah, we're seeing them dive into turn 1, Thor's still trying to go around the outside of Tyrion, but Tyrion's holding it nice and smooth. It's kind of a corner that suits the Ferrari, as it's nice and cambered, the car just settles in, and can handle it quite well. So Sector 1 seems to suit the mid-engine cars, but yeah, when we come to Sector 2 and Sector 3, you really see the front engine cars coming to their own, as we're seeing with the lap times and sector times.
Yeah, quite interesting, in all honesty, that these cars not only have a preferred sector, but also a preferred sort of driving style that may not play into this. We saw a lot of the front engine cars potentially losing it through the downhill, which is turn... is that 7? Oh, jeez.
Turn 6 is going around the right-hand side.
Yeah, exactly that one. Turn 6 is then. Yeah, so maybe that's kind of the price you pay for such a good second sector, is the chance to just randomly be assaulted by Door there. To the inside he goes. He's still going to be forced to fight for that. It's absolutely not done. For now, he's going to be in P3, but is it going to be enough? He slots it just in there. Look how close that actually got. Newcomer's going to have the run of their life. To the inside, they're going to be forced to leave each other room. To the curb he goes. Oh, it's going to ruin his exit. He can't quite benefit from it. No. Newcomer will have to continue fighting if he wants to bring home a position 4 here for Aston Martin.
Yeah, it looks like Tyrion may have closed the door slightly on Newcomer, giving a little bit of a squeeze. Keeping it respectful, though, between them. But yeah, that was very, very tight for those two going around the final one. And unfortunately, Tyrion kind of won out on that corner.
And now I do recall a very specific commentator up in this channel saying that, "Ooh, I don't know about Zandvoort. Not gonna try and front you, but what we are seeing here tonight, that's gonna be way more exciting than Barcelona. I'm not gonna lie. This is some top-notch stuff."
Yeah, I'm really eating my words from earlier, aren't I? It's been a phenomenal action all the way through. Barcelona last time, it kind of got a little bit stale around this time, but I still can't believe we've got a fight for P3, P4, P5. It's still ongoing for these guys. We're seeing Severian is in the pit, so it looks like he's just exited the pit as well. So not sure what happens to number 58 Lamborghini, but yeah. It's
Here we
going
are.
well.
we're seeing Barrows and Jake Moore, which is basically the background footage of the fight that you're now seeing in the bottom right. So we have these different cars, and they all seemingly by chance, or perhaps by destiny, have found each other right around the same area of the track now, all almost at the same sort of pace, where Jake Moore obviously started position number 3 for those who have turned in late, but that Jake Moore is trying to get past once again. Newcomer with a little bit of a fake there. Don't think that was really realistic for him to go for, but well, A plus for effort, right?
Yeah, worth a try. Worth a try. You might as well. But yeah, some of these guys, they will just kind of stick their nose out as if they're going to go for a move, just to show that they're there, maybe pressure them a little bit. But yeah, it is kind of optimistic. Sometimes you see some people stick their nose out and actually go for a lunge when they're 3-4 car lengths back.
Exactly. So these guys do know each other, but say if you were able to write a general rule book for drivers in open lobbies, as we're seeing Jake Moore then take the inside, and that's going to be the move done here, I think, if he can manage side by side for just the briefest of moments. He'll be able to shut the door. 88 Racing Sim Tool eSport indeed moves ahead.
Yeah, that was brilliant stuff from him. Yeah, Barrows left the door open. He saw the door being open. He took it. He just walked right in. I was like, thanks. So yeah, I don't think Barrows was expecting Jake to have that kind of grip to be able to exploit that gap, but he did. He took it, and yeah, that's job done for him. But now Jake's catching up to the battle ahead for P4, and yeah, I don't think these guys are going to want to move out of the way for a back marker.
Yeah. I mean,
so
looking at the pace, 37.2, 37.3, where Jake Moore fits just right in the picture with the 37.5, which was what they were able to put out on the last time round here. So I'd say P12 is probably where that'll basically settle now. Talking about settling for position, Phil Varley, and more importantly, Rick Binnesley is still with the pit stop not served yet. Those are probably going to be exchanging places, which means the Grumpy Bastards Racing 55 would see the second race win in a row.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happened to Binnesley, the number 1-3 Bentley. They've only done one pit stop that counted, which means that they're well over their max stint time. So they can continue driving, but I imagine they're going to get a massive penalty at the end. I've seen penalties of 330 seconds being added to their time. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, what actually went on with that car. But yeah, it's unfortunate seeing how well they're doing.
Quickly got to fix something in terms of the systems here. So I'll quickly leave you to this. Yeah, I got to restart my ACC, unfortunately, 10 minutes into the race. I'm sure you'll do just fine.
Yeah, here's hoping, but yeah, still on board with the battle for P4. I'm still keeping my eye out for other battles happening. Peter Vargas being caught up by a vehicle as well, it looks like, but it's just a back marker. We do have Jake Moore trying to defend off C. Barros, and Peter Vargas catching up to Barros slowly. But nothing's happening between those guys, with Jake Moore catching up to this battle that we're seeing on screen. As you can see him diving very late on the brakes. He knows exactly where to brake, and he's doing a fantastic job keeping the car together and nice and composed. But yeah, if we look back at Jake Moore, you can see him. He's still desperately trying to find a way past these slower cars, shall we say, where they're battling out. And there's not much you can do, because these guys ahead, they won't be getting shown blue flags. And in fact, as soon as Jake gets past, if he can, he'll be the one getting shown blue flags. But yeah, that's just unfortunate for him. It looks like he's about 10-12 seconds down from the car ahead for position, which would be RWB Madley. So it's unfortunate for him that he's not able to catch up as close as he'd like to. But yeah, the closest battle currently is what you're seeing now on screen ahead of Jake Moore. It's between Tyrion and Nate Newcomer for number 97 Aston.
And even if Jake Moore may not get past, he is definitely providing us with some very beautiful onboard footage here of that fight happening just ahead. So I have, it appears, I have been able to fix the hardware. So in the bottom right, oh no, it's actually not showing ACC. I'm gonna have a problem. There it is. It's been taking a while. Only the most professional broadcast, as you obviously know.
8 minutes left on the clock, so that should be about 6 more laps to go. So we'll see what's going on, but you can see ahead, you can see Nate Newcomer looking down the inside, Tyrion closing the door, but now he's sticking it on the outside. Try and get another view of this, because as much as we like this camera that being fed by Jake Moore, we want to see what the full picture that's going on. But yeah, it looks like Nate Newcomer had to back out of that one. But beautiful defending from Tyrion, blocking out the inside.
Bring this over with the full details on the left. You can see that for those of you who are not 100% familiar with the in-game interface, so we have obviously the rankings on the left side there. Binnersley is in first, but we do see that little one, which is probably going to spell disaster from at the end when it comes down to the checkered flag in 7 minutes time. It's something that means he still has to serve a pit stop, which likely not going to happen. So chances are there's going to be a penalty applied to the number 13. Then Varley, you see 9 seconds. And for those of you who have been paying attention quite closely, that gap has been shrinking ever so slightly each time they're crossing a sector timing. So yeah, I'm reckoning that even with the pit stop, Varley would have had a good shot at claiming a position number 1 finish on his own means if this race were to continue a bit longer.
We're showing in the bottom right of the screen, we're seeing the rear wing of RWB Charger, who's trying to defend off Simon Mertens. Those guys are fighting for P20 currently, trying to get back into the top 20 position. So that's still going on for them. I'm also seeing Kai Banks, I've just noticed, in for number 34. Mercedes, he's dropped down to P18, so I'm not sure what's happened, but we're currently seeing now Mertens having a look on the outside of Charger going into turn 1 now. Mertens very much late on the brakes, kind of squeezing Charger, gave him just a little bit enough room, but that's him got the outside now, so he'll have the outside for turn 2.
You could be shutting the door. Yeah, and he does so. Wow, it was one of the few occurrences where the car on the outside was actually far enough ahead to completely clear the other car for a little bit of... so that was actually the only thing really allowing for him to get past and Mertens to claim the position from Charger here. Only 5 minutes to go in the race.
Yeah, we've also got now swapped in the bottom right screen. We've got the onboard of Kevin Shepherd. He's trying to hunt down Auden Jeune for P16. That gap's slowly been coming down as Kevin pushes hard to try and catch up. But yeah, we'll see what happens if they can make it by the end. But yeah, brilliant stuff from Charger trying to get back up to Mertens as well.
Alright, now with 5 minutes to go, I think it might be a great opportunity for us to talk a little bit about... So obviously I've already proclaimed 2 drivers of the stint so far from my expertise. No, really, it's just the software letting me know who's been doing great and whatnot. Actually, doing great is Nate Newcomer to the inside. He's got a very big run on Tyrion. That's going to be very easy as long as he can spot the braking point, which he does. Now, around the outside is the number 96 Ferrari. There's no chance to defend Nate Newcomer. Jumps him. That's P4.
Yeah, beautiful job from Newcomer, and Justin Burley in the chat will be extremely pleased with that. Fantastic manoeuvre there by Nate Newcomer with the number 97 Aston Martin. And yeah, I'm surprised he didn't need to use turn 2 like other people have been using. He got the job done in T1.
Just straight and clean. He's absolutely got that done just right. It's the classic turn 1 move, and Newcomer makes it look easy.
Yeah, 100%. I don't know how he did it. I wonder if he's been practicing that or just waiting for the perfect opportunity. But yeah, he got the job done, nice and simple.
Right, so coming back to this, obviously now a very good candidate is going to be Nate Newcomer with that move after such a long time fighting for an opportunity, or to give himself an opportunity rather. Now, what I'm interested in, what is your driver of the third stint so far from what we've been seeing?
Um, in terms of the third stint, I think Nate Newcomer and Dor, they've done a fantastic job trying to get past Tyrion, because Tyrion put up a stalwart defense. So those guys in P3, 4, 5, they've done a fantastic job and kept us entertained. But also, Varga and Barros, they've been having a properly good battle in the third stint.
Right.
They've been keeping it nice and clean, respectful, and it's also been properly entertaining to watch.
Yeah. So, if you'd have to go for just one driver, who would that be?
Overall, I think if we're looking at positions gained, Christopher Tavarin and co in the number 58 car, they've done a fantastic job. If I'm reading this correctly, they've gone from P25 up to P8. So 17 positions, which I think is just absolutely phenomenal around Zandvoort.
I think in the start they just on the outside and then dropping back all the way to the end of the grid. Maybe a quali ban or such. We know that the smoked salmon and fries were doing great at Barcelona. I think with the P2 finish, wasn't that?
I think so, yeah, from memory. But yeah, it's just a fantastic job from those guys to get that car all the way up there. It's brilliant news for those guys.
Right, let me actually... no, that's the wrong camera. Come on, give me the Bond cam. There we go. So 2 minutes to go, and we do see the latest pit stop in the history of the RST Endurance Championship. That's got to be Binnesley in at the very end of everything.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure if that's worked out. I wonder if there's been a change in the max stint time. There's been some negotiating with the FIA about that, or the organisers. I can't remember. I've got my role-playing head on for the Constructors' Championship. But yeah, I'm wondering if the organisers have waived the max stint time. But yeah, it's weird seeing them pit this late. And yeah, I'm not 100% sure if that's legal or not. But no matter what's happened, Phil Varley's in P1 now.
Yeah, and I would say that he more than just deserves that. He worked really hard to put the 55 into the position where it is, and that position is 17 seconds ahead of any other car competing. That's crazy.
Yeah, it might not be a smooth P4 for Nate Newcomer though, because it looks like Tyrion is slowly working his way back to try and wind him in. But yeah, it's not going well currently for Tyrion, who's unfortunately lost P3 and is now in P5. So it's still a fantastic position, but that is rough.
Right, so 45 seconds in the session. We're going to see Phil Varley cross the line ahead of everyone leading into the final lap. You hear it there. Give it a final push is what our race, or rather our crew chief, is going to let us know from the pit wall. We'll be seeing a very happy Varley, maybe even with an interview. See if we can jump him just when he crossed the finish line. We grab him, we put him in here. He doesn't know we're here, even though we're here. Like, we steal his shoes and now his hooks is why he's been bamboozled once he gets into the coaching into the broadcasting booth here.
Yeah, he's hoping we can get him in time. Someone who's going to be hoping to get caught up in time as well is Kevin Shepherd, still slowly working his way back up to catch up to Auden Jeune. But you're seeing in the bottom right, but I think it's too big of a gap currently for Kevin to get him.
Yeah, in the Ashcraft Racing Ferrari here, we've been seeing some ups and downs as well, I think, in the race. Overall, the pace seems very strong. It's just on the final lap, there's just not much you can do if there's a 2.5 second gap ahead. Only thing you might be able to get is the opportunity if something else arises, such as an incident. But I do not think that's going to be the case here, where we are chasing Phil Varley to the checkered flag in a second here. Second race, second win. It seems that the grumpy bastards have something figured out here.
Yeah, it's he's coming around now up towards the final, second last corner. Yeah, I was trying to get my bearings. Yeah, that's time 12.
Yeah, and there he takes it. Phil Varley takes the second checkered flag here in the RST Endurance Cup. Rick Bannersley, yeah, it's going to be finishing in P2. Let's see. Don't see a penalty applied yet. Coming across the line, it seems that the result is official for them, finishing in position number 2, paradigm shift, securing a 1-2 front row lockout for Bentley. Then first in the Lexus here out on track, Doratech 1 Racing, very impressive stuff, securing the final spot on the podium, which is going to be just a bit ahead of Nate Newcomer. We've been seeing in the background there Commune Racing with 10 to fight, and with a deserved 4th spot right on around the corner. Tyrion in the Smart Crew Ferrari also has crossed the checkered flag, where Peter Pack is just in the final sector here, looking to bring home position number 6 as the second Ferrari out on the grid. So that's probably going to be very well secured. Just 2 turns to go for the RLLeagues.com number 91 here. He's just going to be safe and sound when he comes across the line. So Peter Pack finishing in 6th position right on there. We see it in the background. It's a couple of donuts. People are very happy with their finishes in such an intense race tonight, such as Mark Wadowski will be when he sees that checkered flag to the right hand side. He's going to be ending in 7th place and rear-ending as well that Lexus. I don't know if you saw it as well. He starts to apologize. Yeah. So P8, P9 for Lambo with a surprise performance for the number 15. So Treveran in 8th, Bonnet in 9th, and Sharp wrapping up the top 10 here tonight. Lovely. I'll be taking care of the interview. No, actually, you'll have to, because I'm doing the main broadcast. Oops.
Of course.
See if we can get Vali in here, yeah. Or rather both of them, right? I mean, so Hax and Vali.
Let me see if I can actually grab them.
All right. So 2 hours of action. Now it will be your opportunity. Let us know in the chat. We got some suggestions. First driver, second driver of the second and third stints. Obviously, we have a race winner. Hopefully, in comms here with us in a little bit. Do write us in the chat who you think deserves to be driver of the evening here tonight at Zandvoort. Let me bring this right on up. Very nice broadcast. And, well, we didn't see a weather change, but it wasn't necessary to bring us some action. We got ourselves our own action.
Perfect. I've managed to convince them to do an interview with us. Both of them. I'm currently just trying to negotiate it around so I can drag them both in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic job from those two.
Yeah, and fantastic job indeed. Finishing up well ahead of the pack. 19-second gap, that is. Congratulations.
Hello, hi guys, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Okay, cool, yeah. We've had a brilliant race tonight. I do want to preface this with there being a little bit of a controversy in terms of Rick and Jack's pit stops. So their second pit stop didn't register as a mandatory pit stop. So we're not entirely sure whether or not that's because they forgot to put fuel in or whether the game bugged out there. So it's a provisional first for now. So I just want to put that out of the way. Either way, they ran a fantastic race, and they put up a great fight for us. So yeah. Yes, P1 for us for now.
Yeah,
we've been chasing your pace as well. That seemed to really pick up in the second half of the race, really putting you or enabling you to be in the position where you are. Do you think that just the pace alone played into it, or were there some other components that basically made your race?
So yeah, if I'd have not, so we had lots of pace. I did lots of practice. Phil did lots of practice. We had a really good setup that we both agreed on was good, and we had the consistency and the consistent driving style and a great car as well. The Brentler's a great car. So the pace made a huge difference. I did have a bit of a twang with ruling in the first half, which was unfortunate. But if I'd have not had that, then yeah, I think we'd have been we were obviously well ahead anyway, but.
We nearly had our own disaster where on Hax's in lap for my stint,
right?
My internet cut out briefly.
Oh.
So I lost Gilded, so I couldn't message him, or I couldn't talk to him. So I had to message in game to request me again as I was rejoining the game. So that was he did that on the run.
Yeah.
I think judging by his wheel movements, he was doing that as he was coming into the pits. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
really, quick reactions and nearly disaster averted. But yeah,
Sometimes that is exactly what you need if you want to win races. Yeah, so that's brilliant. I do really love that. I mean, something I do quickly want to point out is the fact that in the first of the 3 sessions that we saw coming in tonight, there was rain announced. Were you prepared for that, or would you have been?
Yeah, we had we had 3 setups. We had the dry setup. We had 4 setups. We had the dry setup, the wet setup, the dry into wet setup, and the wet into dry setup.
That is nuts. That is just bonkers.
So
that's so much preparation work. I love that.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, we did it all last minute, if I'm honest with you, because we did most of our practice in the dry. But I had made a few changes to the setup during a previous practice session where it was wet, and so I'd got a feel for how the car would drive in the wet and what setup changes to make. So it was kind of on the fly and not super well tested, but we had some preparation.
Well, that's lovely. Once again, congratulations for you in the interview right here. Race winners of tonight. Let's see what we can do next week. Hope to see you maybe up in here in the voice as well, obviously. And then with that, we're going to conclude the broadcast for tonight. So thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, cheers, guys.
cheers, guys.
Cheers, thank you.
Congrats.
Well done.
All right, and I'll give you the final word of the evening. I'm going to quickly prepare our beautiful intro there as well, and you let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, so thanks for joining us, everyone. We hope to see you next week, or even on Tuesday, when Nicholas is covering the Constructors' Championship. But yeah, thanks for joining us, and I'm Josh, and that's Nicholas.
With that, we're going to conclude the broadcast for tonight. Lovely stuff. And, well, yeah, next week we're going to be moving on. This week it's been Zandvoort, 2 hours, lots of action. If you've been loving the broadcast, then do let us know. Until then, have a good one.